Last night on Heroes Night, the Astros squeaked out a 1-0 win to even the series with the Cubs. Tonight, Fernando Abad gets his 4th career start and is looking for his first win. It's time for a Wednesday Jam. Astros go for their 2nd straight series win next on Fox Sports Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight is the rubber game of this 3-game series. The Astros meeting the Chicago Cubs. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. After a strange 1-0 win for the Astros last night, they now have a shot at winning this series from the Cubs. JD.
A major league record last night. 11 pitchers used in a 9-inning 1-0 ball game. If you were with us, you saw history last night. If you're with us tonight, you'll see the return of Jed Lowry and Jose Altuve. Altuve's been out with 3 games with an abdominal strain. Much bigger problem for Lowry with the ankle and leg injury. He has not played in 2 months, yet he is still tied for the club lead with 14 home runs. Nice to have Jed back in the lineup tonight.
Double play combo returning from the opening day lineup, and it's Fernando Abad on the mound for the Astros against lefty Travis Wood for the Cubs. The deciding game of this series is right after this.
King, come play family food where every game piece has a prize. And by the motion picture Looper in theaters September 28th. Nice looking cast for that movie. The Astros will send their cast to the field as we're inside Minute Maid Park for the 3rd game with the Astros and the Cubs. Each have won one, therefore the series is on the line. As Fernando Abad toes the rubber, the Astros get in position on the field. The umpires take their spots. And from down on the field here with me, Greg Lucas, let's send it back upstairs now to Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies.
From your vantage point, Greg, you saw the ceremonial first pitch thrown out just a moment ago by Cheech Marin. And he's going back to the old rainbow. Jim Deshaies' jersey, but coming up short, JD.
Yep. Cheech was a little wide with that offering.
Lucas Harrell was able to field it nonetheless, and we're off to a good start tonight. And Hyundai will show you the starting lineup for Dale Swaim and the Chicago Cubs. The leadoff man is center fielder Joe Mather. It's Darwin Barney at second base, Starlin Castro at shortstop, Alfonso Soriano in left field, Wellington Castillo the catcher, Josh Vitters at third base, Dave Suppelt in right field, Anthony Recker at first base, Travis Wood is the pitcher.
Lefty Fernando Abad for the Astros. He's 0-3 this year with a 5.30 ERA. He's made 3 starts plus 30 relief appearances. His ERA as a starter is up over 8. He's trying to get that figured out. And it's an opportunity here against the Cubs. Defensively, the Astros set up this way tonight. Martinez, Barnes, and Maxwell in the outfield. And third to first, we go Dominguez. Welcome back, Jed Lowry and Jose Altuve. Brandon Laird's going to get started at first base. Chris Snyder is behind the plate tonight. That's the Astros defense, and it's brought to you by the Home Depot.
You did that very well.
Well, I like to feel like I'm peaking now with 2 weeks left in the season.
It might be time for a salary drop.
Man, that guy did good Home Depot defense. We need him back.
Joe Mather, not as the Beaver, but as the leadoff man at 213 with 4 homers, 17 runs batted in, has a .255 on base percentage. Stepping up against Abad. Dominguez not very deep at third base. And Mather taking ball 1.
Fastball, curveball, changeup are the pitches that Abad features. His velocity when he was in the pen earlier this year was improved over the past couple of years. He was 92 to 94 at times. Since moving back into the rotation, he's been more 88 to 90.
He caught the corner with that one to even the count at 1-1. Joe Mather's playing in his 95th game. He's moved all around. Smacks a line drive. It loops out to left field, and there's the catch by J.D. Martinez for out number 1. Cubs will head for Wrigley. They have a day off tomorrow, while the Astros welcome the Philadelphia Phillies tomorrow night in the first of a 4-game set, and they are the surging Philadelphia Phillies. They won again today.
And they beat the Marlins behind Cliff Lee 3-1. Josh Johnson of the Marlins had a no-hitter through 5. The Phillies now 3.5 games behind the Cardinals for the second playoff spot, or the second wild card spot, I should say.
Yeah. Darwin Barney on a 7-game hitting streak. Looks at ball 1 from Fernando Abad. Shooting for his first career win against Chicago. He has 1 major league win, 8 losses. And against the Cubs, he has a 2.16 ERA for 10 appearances. It's 1-1 to Barney. Barney has the long errorless streak of 127 games. And lately, the hitting has been good for him, too, with that 7-game stretch. Barney puts one out into right center field, and that will loop in for a hit for Darwin Barney. And an 8-game streak for Darwin. Here's the NL wild card race. Atlanta, St. Louis, then the Dodgers 1 out. Pittsburgh 2.5 behind. The Phillies have crept right up there, 1 game over 500. They're 3.5 back, and Milwaukee's 4 behind.
And Pirates are running that race like their shoes are untied. And then they just have been sliding backwards here for a while. They're still there because the Cardinals have been just so-so. But the Pirates, boy, they need somebody to come out and just pitch a shutdown game for them so they can get things headed in the right direction there. Trailing the Reds 1-0 after 3 in Cincinnati, and the Cardinals are down 3-2 to the Padres after 6 in San Diego.
Starlin Castro, as you saw, has glittering numbers lately. There's ball 1. During his 9-game hitting streak, he's hit .405, as you might have observed, with 15 hits in 31 and 37 at bats, and that works out to that .405 average on this road trip. He also has a triple, 4 doubles, and 6 runs batted in on this trip, as the Cubs have gone 4-5 in 9 games so far. Throw goes over on Barney. Barney is 6 for 7 in steals.
Castro hitting .296 against left-handed pitching. The Cubs hitting .227 against southpaws. The only team worse than that in terms of batting average against lefties is the Astros, who are hitting .216. So a couple of lefties on the mound tonight, you would expect not a lot of hitting.
Rolled out to second. Here comes Altuve over to his left for the short toss over to Laird. Barney into second on out number 2. Brandon Laird gets his first start at first base.
The ball got in on Castro a little bit. Little late swing. Jammed him. Meek ground ball.
Now it's slugging Alfonso Soriano with 94 runs batted in. He leads the Cubs. He has 28 homers and an .803 OPS. Ranking in the top 10, as you see, in long balls and runs batted in. Soriano hit his 28th homer on Sunday. He's hit 3 home runs against the Astros this season. Boy,
oh my!
Pitch looked awfully good, but not to Dana DeMuth, and it's ball 1.
Wow!
Kind of discouraging too, because if a Bud can throw the ball that way, you're pretty happy, right?
Supposed to get rewarded for that.
Exactly.
It's like hitting one right down the middle of the fairway and ends up in a pot bunker. What's up with that? Somebody else's divot. It's like hitting it right in the pocket and ending up with a 7-10 split.
Oh yeah. Or if you're playing pool, somehow you hit it right in the middle of that pocket and it doesn't go down.
Yeah.
That ever happened to you?
Yes. Many times with the game on the line.
Soriano is 0 for 7 in this series with a couple of walks. Astros have held him to a 176 average this season. Whoa. That's a breaker for strike 2. Fernando Abad.
Good sharp breaking pitch here from Abad. He'll throw that curveball about 35% of the time. Doesn't lean too heavily on his fastball. Maybe the type of guy who's going to be more successful if he pitches backwards, soft stuff early, and then fool you with a fastball. Time will tell.
This one trickles away, and there's the advance by Barney on the wild pitch. Kicked off to the right of Chris Snyder. And a runner at third now, and 2 outs with a 2-2 count. Fourth wild pitch for Abad this season. Barney gets to third base. Soriano fouls that one. He drilled it over the Cubs dugout. Rolls back down to a Cub. He brandishes the baseball. Fans behind him are looking down saying, hey, we want that ball.
Come on, man. There you go.
Yeah, they toss it up to him. Players are having a little fun with those fans. Soriano looks at it. It's a full count to Alfonso.
I believe this is the first start that Abad has made with Chris Snyder behind the plate, and we've seen it all year long with Snyder catching Harrell. He's really good at making sure the pitcher uses both sides of the plate. You know, good veteran presence back there. And that's not to diminish Castro or Corporon, but Snyder's just been around longer.
And that's so important.
And you've got a young, evolving pitching staff. Nice to have that veteran behind the plate.
Now, runners at first and third, 2 outs for Wellington Castillo. Castillo, a .284 hitter, has 4 homers, 15 runs batted in. He's on a 3-game hitting streak right now.
Last time out in Pittsburgh a week ago, Fernando allowed 4 runs in 4 innings, 6 hits, walked 3.
Broken bat hit into right field to make it 1-0 Chicago. RBI single for Castillo. He drives in his 16th. He takes his hitting streak to 4 games. Barney scores and Soriano goes to second.
Barney didn't hit his very hard. This is off the end of the bat. Just squirts it through that hole on the right side.
Josh Vitters will be the batter. Vitters is below 100, 093, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in for the rookie third sacker. Cubs giving him a decent look here at the end of the year. Hit his first home run in Milwaukee August 20th. Ball 1 to Vitters. And we were talking with some of the coaching staff of the Cubs. They thought they might as well work with him up here in the big leagues. Give him this learning opportunity. He was recalled August 5th from Iowa. Sometimes it comes to that. People think the lessons have to be learned in the minor leagues. Not necessarily. It's 2 balls, no strikes.
It depends on the nature of what's going on with the big league club. You know, if you're in a pennant race, you're not going to call up a kid that's not ready to play. If you're in the situation that the Cubs and the Astros are in, you can bring a kid up who's raw and needs more time, but you can take a look at him at the big league level and give him a sense of what he needs to do to be able to play here. And a chance for the staff to get to know the player a little bit better.
True.
You can help him going forward.
Breaking pitch comes in for a strike, and Vitters is 23. He was a first-round pick in 07. He was the 3rd player drafted in the 07 draft. So he's had 6 minor league seasons. Last year he was at Double-A Tennessee, hit .283 with 14 homers and drove in 81 runs. It's a foul ball back, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count with Dave Sapelt on deck. Now the Cubs had Ian Stewart at third base earlier this year. He got hurt. So they have turned the page and gotten a whole lot younger at that position, or at least taking a look into the future to see if Vitters might be a good option for next year. These 2 teams will finish the season at Wrigley Field. Abad changes speeds, gets a strikeout. The Cubs come away with a run on 2 hits. They strand 2 and they draw first blood, 1-0. With this starting lineup, brought to you by Hyundai. Tony DeFrancesco leads off with Jose Altuve. He's back after a little absence with an injury. And Jed Lowry is back for the first time in almost 2 months. He's the starting shortstop. J.D. Martinez plays left field with Justin Maxwell in right field. Matt Dominguez plays third base, batting fifth. The first sacker is Brandon Laird. Chris Snyder, the catcher. Brandon Barnes in center field. Fernando Abad is the pitcher.
Cubs counter with a lefty of their own. It's 25-year-old Travis Wood, making his 22nd start. He's 5-11 with a 4.42 ERA. League hits just .237 against him. He's been good against the Astros this year, and he's really been good of late. Last 3 or 4 starts, he's pitched quite well. Last time out, 6 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball against the Pirates. Wood's a guy who, like Abad, is not going to overpower you with his fastball, but he gives you a lot of different looks. Slider, cutter, curveball, and a changeup. He likes to throw that cutter in on the hands of the right-handed hitters.
Jose Altuve
Like that.
moves back from it. Ball one. 290 for Jose. 5 homers. He's driven in 33. Entered last night's game in the 8th inning to play a little second base. This is his first time at bat in this series after missing a few games with the abdominal strain. He jumps back to ball 2, and it's 2-0. Travis Wood, 25 years old, from Little Rock, Arkansas, not too far from home. The Reds drafted him in the 2nd round in 2005, traded him to the Cubs last December in the Sean Marshall deal. He delivers strike 1, and it's 2-1 to Altuve.
2-2 with a 2.09 ERA against the Astros in 7 starts. 1-1 this year. Endured just a terrible month of July. As I said, he's been better lately. Winless in August, but a competitive 4.14 ERA.
He does compete, and that's the watchword on him. Got a 237 batting average against.
Yeah, some of the numbers don't add up.
No. They really don't.
Keeps the walks down. Has given up a lot of home runs, 23 home runs allowed. Not horrible.
That's a strike call, and Altuve is caught looking. Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire. That's 1 out for Wood.
Take a look at it on Fox Tracks. Looked like it was up a little bit, and Dana DeMuth called it, and so Dana looks like maybe he's going to be a little higher and maybe squeeze you down. We'll see. Soriano, Mather, Sapelt cover the outfield for the Cubs. The infield features Vitters and Wrecker on the corners. The middle of Castro, who makes a lot of errors, and Barney, who doesn't make any. Castillo's behind the plate. As we mentioned, Darwin Barney just 1 error all year, establishing a major league record for consecutive errorless games by a second baseman, bypassing the great Ryan Sandberg.
Jed Lowry just back from the California League playoffs. Took ball 1, and now it's a 1-ball-1-strike count. Jed is tied for the club home run lead with 14, despite the fact that he's been out since mid-July. Has 36 runs batted in and a 253 batting average for the switch hitting shortstop. Ground ball to third. Vitters taking care of out number 2. And the first base umpire was looking in on Anthony Recker to make sure he kept that foot on the base. 2 outs.
Recker, the first baseman tonight for the Cubs, primarily been a catcher throughout his minor league career. I think he played 25 games or so as a first baseman in the minor leagues.
J.D. Martinez bats. J.D. looks at it. There's strike 1 to a 238 hitter with 11 homers, 54 runs batted in. J.D. is 0 for 3 in this series. He had a pinch hit at bat last night, drew a walk. Here's something interesting on the statistics sheet for the Astros tonight. Consecutively listed as hitters: Fernando Martinez, J.D. Martinez, Justin Maxwell. All hitting 238. The stat sheet. Coming over, Recker for a look and a catch to end the Astros first in 1-2-3 fashion for Travis Wood. It's 1-0 Cubs.
Purchase an all-inclusive ticket packages for a game, and you get access to the pregame event with beer sampling, live music, folk dancing, and more. Go to Astros.com/Oktoberfest to get those tickets. Rowdy?
Thank you, Bart. Dave Sapelt, the batter. Takes a look at that one, and it's ball one from Abad. Sapelt at 235 has no homers. He has 3 runs batted in. Had a big game here Monday night, driving in 3 runs with 2 doubles in that one. He had another double last night. Strike, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike to Sapelt. Sapelt, let's see, has 4 hits with the Cubs, 4 for 17, 3 of them doubles. Two balls and a strike. We showed that play several times last night in the Astros 1-0 win. Sapelt had doubled Castro to third, and Barney hit the fly ball to center field, and Sapelt was thrown out at third. Castro didn't score, and the Astros won 1-0. Dale Swain was asked about that after the game, and he placed the blame on Sapelt for the base running, saying it was bad judgment to try to go from second to third base, and making the final out of the inning at third.
Yeah, you never want to make that third out at third. We focused on Castro kind of slowing down as he came towards home plate, so I think that, it's partially on Castro as well. Sapelt probably would have been better off breaking hard just to draw a throw.
Right.
And I haven't heard his explanation of the play, but what may have fooled him a little bit is just the positioning of Maxwell in center field. Justin was squarely behind that ball, gave every indication that he was going to throw home, and then made a late adjustment and threw to third base. So he may have deeped Sapelt a little bit, whether intentionally or not.
They have. Anthony Recker was called up from Double-A Tennessee September 4th. There's a .200 batting average, 1 homer, 1 RBI for Recker. As JD mentioned, he's done catching and just kind of filling in at first base for the injured Anthony Rizzo. Took a spill last night in that collision with Brett Wallace. Rizzo's just sore, shoulder, back sore. He really fell hard.
Here's the play last night, and this is the second out that is caught by Maxwell in center field, medium deep. And Justin saying in the paper today he felt like he had no shot at Castro, so once he saw Sapelt start to drift off the bag, he went to third base.
Recker takes, and it's ball 1. And the fact that he was tagged out at third before Castro stepped on home plate, it was the third out of the inning, meant the Cubs did not score a run.
Thank goodness. We'd still be playing. Be in the top of the 49th right now. Teams combined to go 0 for 19 with men in scoring position last night.
Yes, they did. That was one strange 1-0 game. It was now Doug Roquel's coming out. We count going to 2-0. Okay, the third time in team history the Astros have had a 6-pitcher shutout. The most recent one, the no-hitter at the Yankees on June 11th, 2003. First time winning team made 4 errors in a game since September 18th, 2004. And the first shutout by a major league team making 4 errors since May 12th, 2008. Pittsburgh did it, and they combined, as you mentioned, 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position.
And as I mentioned in the open, the first time in Major League Baseball history that 11 pitchers were used in a 9-inning, 1-0 ball game. Cannot accuse these managers of not trying.
Nope. Popped up. And Jed Lowry comes in from shortstop. That's 1 down. Well, the Astros are 5-5 in the month of September. They won 3 games in July. Now with 1 out, it's Wood, the pitcher, at 8 for 41, a 195 average with 2 sacrifice bunts. He has 1 homer and 3 doubles.
He's a good hitter, very good athlete.
3 career long balls for Wood. Fouls that one for strike 1. Chris Snyder behind the dish tonight.
Fernando aggressive with that first pitch fastball. Wood a pretty good whack at it. Didn't quite square it up.
Strike there, makes it 0-2.
He's kind of like Mike Hampton without the sinker. Left-handed pitcher, hits right-handed, real good athlete, fields a position, can hit, can run.
Okay. Wood swings and misses. That's out number 2. Strikeout number 2. Ball pulled the string on him. Joe Mather comes around for the second time. Mather hit a fly ball to left, leading off the game. Cubs are 15th in the National League in runs scored. The Astros are 16th. So no shock that they would play a 1-0 game last night. And the opener of the series Monday night went to the Cubs 4-1. That's really been the pattern of their season series. A lot of low scoring games between these two teams. There's ball one. In fact, let's see, they've played a total of 11 games. The Cubs have scored 35 runs. The Astros have scored 32 runs in those 11. In the air to center field. Maxwell moving in. And in the second inning, it's no runs, no hits. Leadoff walk, no problem for Fernando Abad. 1-0 Cubs. Enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. 1-0 the Cubs lead it. The Astros will be batting here in the home second inning. And it has gotten warmer since the roof was open Monday night, so it remains close to again tonight as it was last night.
It was just a tease, wasn't it?
It was a tease.
Give you a little taste of that cooler weather. And then not so fast, folks.
Yeah. Justin Maxwell with 14 long balls. A good swing at that one, fouling it back, strike one. J. Max was on a 5-game hitting streak. He's hitting .238. Wood with those good career numbers against Houston, 2.09 ERA for 7 starts. He's had a number of good starts against Houston. Gets Maxwell to expand his zone, and it's 0-2. He shut out the Astros in Chicago for 7 2/3 innings. July 1st, beating Wandy Rodriguez 3-0. And he started that game with 4 perfect innings.
And maybe his best start of the year.
He lost a 2-1 game here to Jay Happ May 22nd. Gave up a leadoff homer to Jose Altuve in that one, and departed after surrendering just 2 hits and 2 runs in 5 2/3. The tap goes foul. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Matt Dominguez on deck. Brandon Laird drew up third in the Astros second. Cubs ending a 10-game road trip tonight. It's been a strange trip. It started out with 4 games in Washington. They lost all 4 of those. And then they really turned the tables on the trip by sweeping the Pittsburgh Pirates in a 3-game series, averaging 6.7 runs in that series. Foul ball. Still 1-2. They've caught the Pirates in a funk, and several teams have been doing that lately. Tomorrow night at 7:05, brand new series starts with the Phillies, bringing a 7-game winning streak into Minute Maid Park. That's a strikeout, and it's number 2 for Wood.
Cut out Altuve, looking at it, breaking ball. That may have been up a little bit. This time he slips a cut fastball by Maxwell after showing a pretty good changeup earlier in the sequence, slowing that bat down a little bit.
Matt Dominguez with a .298 average, 3 homers, 7 runs batted in.
Here's your man of the match right here.
Okay. Big strike 1. Had that big weekend series in Cincinnati. The home run off of Aroldis Chapman, now trying to do damage against a different lefty. Fouls it back, and it's 0-2. Tomorrow night at 7:05, it's Lucas Harrell and Tyler Cloyd. Harrell is 10-9 with a 3.83 ERA. Cloyd is 1-1 with a 4.24. Over first base and into foul territory. A good catch by Record.
Not bad for a catcher playing first base.
Not bad at all.
Thought my man of the match had a little bloop single here to get things started, but Record able to track it down. Fair or foul, I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. He's out.
Who does he think he is? Scott Hatteberg?
Aesop Choi?
Brandon Laird, 2 for 6, has a homer and 2 runs batted in. Aesop Choi was a big first baseman several years ago for the Cubs, lefty hitter.
From Korea.
Yep. He ran into Scott Rowland, right? They had a collision. And I think that was one of those that really began the shoulder problems for Scott Rowland that have continued for years and years. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be for the Phillies, right-hander Tyler Cloyd, lefty Cole Hamels, right-hander Kyle Kendrick, and right-hander Roy Halladay in the 4-game series here this weekend. 2 balls, 1 strike. Phillies making that big push JD talked about, winning today 3-1 with Cliff Lee going to 5-7 with the victory over Josh Johnson. Papelbon got his 34th save. Jimmy Rollins hit a big 7th-inning homer that proved to be the game winner. Out into right center field. Sapelt is underneath it. And that's 6 in a row set down by Travis Wood and a 1-0 Cubs lead.
All dog lovers, bring your dog to the second Astros Dog Day at Minute Maid Park of 2012, coming up Sunday when the Astros host the Phillies. Ticket packages include fun pregame festivities for you and your dog, including the on-field pooch parade. The grounds crew here loves that one. And a costume contest. Root now and buy tickets at astros.com/dog day. That's right, dogs dressed in costumes, Brownie.
Will you be here for that
Doesn't
one,
get any better than that.
Not really. Are you going to be on hand for that?
I will not. I will not be here. Neither will my dog.
Okay.
Or dogs playing poker. And it's hard
That's
to
a
beat
good
that,
one.
too. Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
In the past, Bart, Greg Lucas has considered bringing his dog to that event. But each time he's chosen not to do that. We're traveling. Let's see. We're traveling Sunday? We're traveling Monday. Traveling Monday, aren't we?
I don't know.
So, Greg, you could do it. That's not an excuse.
I know.
Let's bring the dog on the trip.
I'll ask Barry Waters.
Yeah, run that by Barry. See if we...
Barry wouldn't care.
Barry would love to have pets on the airplane.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, we're off on Monday, huh?
Okay. Well,
so you could bring your dog on Sunday and
you
still
could bring him.
Yes, I know I could.
It sounds as if you're really resigned to the fact that that's never going to work, though.
Well, it's
just your tone of voice
sit
and everything.
down here with me, but I can't leave, so there's some problem with that.
Yeah.
My wife would have to handle her all by herself, and that's. Let me explain something. My dog weighs 103 pounds. My wife weighs 109.
Okay.
So that's kind of rough if the dog gets tired of being somewhere.
Yeah. That's out toward right center field. Maxwell waiting for this Barney fly ball. We're out number one. So if your dog takes off in a gallop, then your wife is being pulled behind.
That's almost happened a few times on walks.
Very good stuff. Castro's coming up. Castro grounded out in the first inning. Cardinals are batting in the top of the ninth. They're trailing at San Diego 3-2. Luke Gregerson is on the mound for the Padres. I believe he came from the Cardinals system.
Padres are tough to beat right now.
Yeah.
Playing good ball.
They've got Logan Forsythe. This ball one. You talked about those guys from the Reds. Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah.
Yonder Alonso.
Chase Headley's been about as good as they get in the second half.
He really has. Cameron Maben. 2-0 now for Abad. This is Abad's fourth start. He was pitched only in relief against the Cubs and never for more than one inning against them.
Drifting. Sometimes he has a tendency to drift, fall off towards the third base line. When he does that, he leaves the ball up and away to the right-handed hitters. Has to stay with it a little longer, stay balanced over the rubber, keep that front shoulder closed.
He made his debut against the Cubs in the majors in July of 2010. That's a walk to Castro, his 30th of the year.
It's hard to do. Castro doesn't walk much.
Nope.
Here we take a look at some guys having impressive second half. Buster Posey's been a beast, but Headley 19 bombs, 60 driven in to lead all of Major League Baseball in those categories. Bronson Arroyo, who knew?
He did.
And our oldest Chapman, who has been shut down for a few days with a fatigued shoulder. Reds can do that because they have a very comfortable lead. 10.5 games over the Cardinals in the Central.
Boy, don't they?
They can moonwalk to the division title.
And they have Jonathan Broxton to close. Alfonso Soriano takes ball one.
They got Broxton, they got Marshall.
Yeah.
Very good pen.
Well stocked. And just coasting, but also wanting to get that best record in the National League so they could play the wild card winner in the first round of the playoffs.
Continuing to struggle here, and here comes Brocail. Broke has gotten his first step over the course of this season out of that dugout has improved significantly. I think he could steal a base for us if we needed him to.
He almost beats the catcher to the mound.
Almost so he wants to make sure his message gets delivered first.
It's a race.
He might have some side action in the dugout on it. Hey, Clarkie, I have 5 spots since I beat Snyder to the mound. I mean, why not, right? You got to have some fun.
Bot says they're coming at me from
Long,
all
tough
angles.
year, yeah. If I were a bot, I'd start to back off the mound. Those 2 big horses coming at me.
Charging. Soriano puts one out of play. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Already, Chucky Fick is warming up. Abad's thrown 48 pitches. More balls than strikes so far, 25-23.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 things going on with the early action of the bullpen. One, you've got all these arms. You have plenty of people available. And I think Tony D is trying to send a message that, we're trying to win these games, so I'm not going to stay with the starter who's really scuffling. And 2, he's trying to performance matters. I'm going to reward you if you do well, but if you're scuffling, you're going to be out of there.
And we've seen that the way he's handled his bullpen. And the roles have shifted a little bit based on performance in the bullpen.
And apparently he's handing out headphones for star performances. He's got a buddy in the electronics business, and he's passing out headphones when guys have big games.
$200 headphones. And he spent far more than he initially thought he would be spending on that. Or maybe they've been gifted by his buddy. But anyway, they're nice headphones and kind of an extra incentive.
I'm going to go with gifted.
All right.
Just a guess.
I would quickly sign on to that myself.
Good thing this isn't the NCAA. We'd be in significant violations here. We wouldn't be able to go to a bowl game next year.
3 balls, 2 strikes. With 1 out, Castro, the base runner, does not have a big lead, and it's foul back. How about the Astros schedule for next year? Have you peeked at that yet?
Well, I have. You got to get used to the new initials.
Okay.
You're used to seeing the sh for the Cubs and the now I'm working at Boss, C and Clee.
Right.
All the initials of the American League teams.
It's only room for 3 letters.
Yeah. People have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, well, we always talk like this. So instead of sh, you get Chicago White Sox.
That's right. We got there's some long trips. Travel looks a little tougher.
Almost hit the rafters up there. Fly ball to Maxwell.
But travel matters to us, but for the fans, they care about who's coming here, and we're going to open with the Rangers.
Yes.
On opening day, Tuesday, April 2nd, the Rangers in for 3, then Oakland finish off that homestand. And obviously a lot of games within the division, so 3 trips to Seattle, LA, and Oakland. 19 games between the division within the division next year. Reminiscent of back when we had 2 divisions, you played 18 games within your division and 12 outside. Season finishes with the New York Yankees here. September 27, 8, and 9. Some good weekends. The Angels are here for a couple weekends. Toronto's in town. Detroit, first weekend in May. Good fielder. Miguel Cabrera, big 4-game set.
Justin Verlander. Ryan Rayburn.
Jim Leyland and Gene Lamont.
Nice. Well, we're going to have to review these names over the winter, of course. A lot of changes in that schedule compared to what fans are used to. 1 ball, 1 strike, but really going to be interesting because of the strength of the AL West right now. And we'll be seeing it that very first week. 3 with Texas, 3 with Oakland here to open. And on the road to Seattle, the Angels, and Oakland. Difficult stretch.
So basically the first 3 weeks of the season is all within the division.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and then Cleveland and Seattle come here, and then a road trip to Boston and the Yankees at the end of April, early May. So a totally different flavor than we're used to, obviously, but still some NL Central opponents on the schedule. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Cardinals will be here in interleague play in the middle of July.
What's going to be?
Oh no, we'll be in St. Louis.
Okay.
But they're coming here in June. Towards the end of June, the Cardinals are here.
Okay. 2 games. Top to shortstop. Here's Jed Lowry on the run, making a very good play to end the Cubs' third with no runs, no hits, and a man stranded. 1-0 Cubs.
History. They always cheer when we do this piece. September 12, 1977, the Astros hit 5 home runs, 2 each by Jose Cruz and Cesar Cedeno, and blasting the Reds 7-2. J.R. Richards strikes out 11, getting his 15th win. All those home runs, including, of course, the 2 by Cruz and Cedeno in this moment in history, were over the fence. That's right, they were over the fence, but he was good at chop-chop, and on this date in 1930, the last bounced home run was hit by Dodger catcher Al Lopez at Ebbets Field. In those days, you could bounce it over for a homer. The American League changed the rule the year earlier, and Al Lopez was the last one to hit one that bounced over. Cheo could have had some of those because he bounced a lot of balls deep off the AstroTurf.
Yeah, chop-chop. You know, I was aware of that bounce home run rule. I didn't realize it existed as late as it did. I didn't realize up till 1930.
Nope, didn't know that. Chris Snyder leads it off. Travis Wood has retired the first 6. He leads it 1-0 and throws ball 1. 192 for Chris, 7 homers. He's driven in 24. Wood pumps it in for a strike. That evens the count at 1-1 with Barnes on deck and Abadu up third. Wood snapped an 8-game losing streak when he beat the Pirates last time out. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Cubs have undergone a lot of changes to their starting rotation since the season opened. Chris Volstad is the only one still intact from that starting 5.
Yeah, Wood spent a month or so down in the minor leagues before being recalled in early May. Of course, Ryan Dempster has been traded. Matt Garza has been on the DL for a while now. Paul Maholm was dealt to the Braves.
3-2 now to Snyder. Wood had a scoreless streak of 19 2/3 innings back in June. He walked him. Snyder takes his 31st walk of the year, becomes the first Houston base runner, and Brandon Barnes will follow.
Looper's in theater September 28th.
What's that about, JD?
I think it has a sci-fi twist to it. You know, it's a time travel. You know, there's a lot of those kind of movies out now, Brownie.
Yeah, that's true. Very popular.
Not like Trouble with the Curve.
No.
Just a good baseball movie.
Yeah. Tim Hudson. Brandon Barnes, 172 with 1 homer.
Clint Eastwood plays a scout. And Amy Adams is his daughter.
Yeah.
It's what I gather. It's more about that relationship. It's kind of the central theme of this film.
That's true. And there are just a couple of guys doing a TV game on in the background during an Astros and Braves game. One of those scenes between Clint Eastwood and Amy Adams.
Are you going to go see it? You got to go see it. Right?
Oh, yeah. September 21st.
I'm fearful we're going to get cut, though. That's my big fear.
Yeah. Just never know till you show up.
Stand up in the theater. Stop unwrapping that paper.
What?
This is the most important part of this movie.
What happened to our scene? They cut us out. We'll be directing people to that theater at the movies when they come in. No, don't buy tickets to that other show.
The big premiere. Oh, here we go. Chris Snyder. 0 stolen bases. 701st career game.
You've been talking this up as something that you expect to happen before the end of this year, right?
No, it's just something I want to have happen.
Strike makes it 2-2. That would have been the one, that 2-1 count, but he wasn't running. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are tied 1-1. They're in the bottom of the 5th at Cincinnati with Homer Bailey pitching against A.J. Burnett. Tampa Bay 2, Baltimore 2, bottom of the 5th in Baltimore. B.J. Upton in his 22nd. I believe he's a free agent after this year.
B.J. Upton, he is, yes.
Okay.
And the Cardinals got beat again.
Ooh.
3-2 the final. They were swept by the San Diego Padres. Cardinals came into play tonight with the second wild card spot with the lead for that, but just 1 game better than L.A.
L.A.'s been fading also.
They're in Arizona a little bit later on.
Barnes strikes out. They lost 1-0 last night to Ian Kennedy. That's the 3rd strikeout for Wood.
So the Phillies will come to town tomorrow for a 4-game series, just 3 games out of that wild card spot.
Boy.
Unbelievable.
It really is. Fernando Abad is 1 for 4. It's amazing the way the players think and managers and coaches think. Now, Kirk Gibson refuses to accept that his team is out of it. Arizona's 10 games behind the Giants right now. Check how far they are in the wild card race.
Just a couple games behind Philadelphia, I think.
Okay. Well, not out of it.
Well, they're actually 1 game behind Philadelphia. They're 5 games out of the wild card starting to play tonight. And the problem that they have, and Philly to and Milwaukee's right there too. Milwaukee tied with Philadelphia coming into play tonight. You got to jump over a few teams, but you have if you're Philadelphia or Milwaukee, you have to feel pretty good about your chances of bypassing Pittsburgh the way they've been playing. When you really start to look at each team's schedule and really break it down.
Abad bunts it foul. It's 1-1. Could be quite a scramble like it was last year. Joe Bertini was talking about that final game for the Cardinals here last year. They beat the Astros and they had to wait around to see if Atlanta lost. Then they celebrated. In tight, 2-1, and he said the Phillies who beat Atlanta, he said. And then the Cardinals beat the Phillies in the playoffs.
It's a difficult sacrifice situation here, and that's why they had Abad swinging in there. Now he's going to try to bunt again. But you've got Wood, a tremendous athlete. The third baseman's coming hard. Abad inexperienced in the batter's box, a slow runner on first base. So a lot of things conspiring against a successful sacrifice here. Lefty on the mound. Tough to get a jump.
Todd fouls it back. Abad does not have a sacrifice bunt in his major league career. Astros signed him in 2002 as a free agent. Promoted to the majors in the 2010 season for the first time. Bounces it, and Barney's there getting the force play. Castro up and over for the double play. 4-6-3. And through 3, Wood and the Cubs lead it 1-0. What's happening?
Well, you know we did the You Make the Call radio contest.
Yes.
Now we're going to do the You Make the Call mascot talent contest.
Okay, when does this start?
This started today. The registration just opened today. We just announced the contest today. Registration will be open for the next week until next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Everyone's welcome and encouraged to apply. And then we'll start bringing people in during our last homestand, September 24th and 26th.
Does this mean we get a new mascot next year?
I mean, that's to be determined. We have to see. I think Junction Jack might want to hang out with his other rabbit friends somewhere else. So, you know.
So there's going to be a different costume, and there's going to be a different person in this costume. So you're looking for somebody who can do flips and juggle and breathe fire.
We want someone to do it all.
Yeah, wow.
That's right. Yeah, breathe fire. If they can do that, they probably will have the job.
So an acrobatic type person, or is that not required?
Not required. Not required.
Okay. Josh Vitters with strike one. You're being pretty interesting here the way you're approaching this. So you're leaving us a little bit in doubt. You're not going to put it all out there, are you, for folks?
We'll give everyone what they need to know. No, well, we'll have everybody actually compete through the rounds, through the end of the season, in just a standard costume, not our current mascot or anything like that, just a standard costume. So that way people are really just judged on their ability, their creativity, and not on the costume or the mascot costume itself.
Okay.
And so if you come out on September 24th and 25th, you'll actually be able to see our top 50 that we pick here during Visitors BP. So it's going to be a lot of fun for our fans before the game to see a bunch of, crazy mascot fun.
Oh, during batting practice, they get a little preview.
You have your top 50 out here?
We'll have our top 50 out here. We'll probably bring them out in sets of 10 at a time. But, yeah, you'll see 50 different people dressed up.
And so you're going to have, 50 different costumes? Or 10 different guys, so you're rotating.
We'll
now
rotate,
to
yeah.
10.
Yes.
Bouncer up the middle, and Lowry dives, but that's on through in the center field for a single for Bitters.
This guy down here would be a good mascot. I was watching him throw balls to the fans from the top of the dugout, part of the park patrol here.
Perfect. I'll go snag him after. So then after we go through our top 50, the judges will take us down to the top 10. And our judges are really an awesome component of this. We have Junction Jack, of course, on our judges panel. We have Clutch, the Rockets mascot. And we also have General Admission from the Astrodome are all going to participate as our judges, as well as Ken Hoffman from the Chronicle.
Oh.
So an expert panel. We're counting on those three mascots and former mascots to really help us out and use their expertise to get the right fit for us for next season.
Obviously, this mascot's going to be making a lot of appearances in the community.
They are. That's an area that we'd like this mascot to grow, really grow this mascot position. Right now, they're not out in the community as much as he could be, and so we're definitely looking forward to that for next season.
Line drive left center field. J.D. Martinez over, and he fires in toward third base. The throw's offline, and the batter gets to second. Sapelt with good hustle makes it second and third, nobody out.
Throw probably should have gone into second base. It was a very low percentage chance that he was going to make a play on Vitters, having to go as far as he did on the into that alley in left center. And JD has a better than average arm for a major league left fielder, but I think the play there was second base to keep Sapelt out of scoring position, keep a double play in order.
Well, now Abad has 2 men in scoring position, nobody out, and the batter is Recker. Recker popped a shortstop earlier. So would you visualize only one person as a mascot or more than one?
For this position?
Yeah.
We'll start off with one position, and as the program grows, our hope would definitely be to have more than one mascot here if we have enough appearances for them in the community. And that's what we really want this person to do, is grow that program, get us out there in front of, going to schools, going to hospitals, really growing the community aspect.
Okay. Because if there's enough demand, you could have 3 different mascots making appearances simultaneously.
Could the city of Houston handle it? I'm not sure.
Fly ball to left. Runner tagging at third. Vitters. JD coming in. Not very deep. He'll stop and go back. Whoa! It went to Fernando Abad backing up the plate. That's an exciting out, number one.
Well, JD threw a runner out at home plate a couple of nights ago. He uncorks a good strong throw here. Nobody out as this ball is hit, so the catch is the first out of the inning. Pat Listash, the third base coach, having seen Martinez's arm a couple times, decides to play it safe. Obviously, Vitters would have scored easily on that throw, but you don't know that at the time, unless you're Kreskin or Nostradamus.
Yeah.
So, now with one out, if there were one out and the ball was hit, I'm sure he would have had him going, especially with pitcher coming up next.
Right.
So what you're saying, Brownie, is this mascot could be like Santa Claus.
That's what
because
I'm
there is only one real Santa Claus, but then, he has all the elves out at the holiday time. So we could have mascots that all look the same.
That's right. That's right. It's Texas. Go big, right? I'm learning that. I've only been here a couple months.
Well, it's important to have depth in the organization.
Yes.
You don't need to go 3 or 4 mascots deep.
We're always thinking depth here. Pitching change. We'll be right back with the score 1-0 Cubs. Like that cap, JD. We haven't seen that, have we?
I hadn't. It's a good looking lid, though. I like it.
Very nice. Very nice. Meanwhile, Chucky Fick has come out of the bullpen. We're talking about You Make the Call, the Mascot Talent Contest. The deadline, September 19th. That's a week from today.
That's right. We're giving everyone 1 week to get online at Astros.com and register to compete in the Mascot Talent Contest.
Chucky Fick comes in, and the infield is in with runners at second and third, one out. He's 0-1. Has an ERA of 4.32. He is facing the pitcher, Travis Wood. And that makes it a righty-on-righty matchup.
An idea of how much respect Tony D has for Wood as an athlete and a hitter. Rarely would you see a pitching change to get the platoon advantage when the opposing pitcher's coming up.
Yep. Three of 8 inherited runners have been stranded. Pitch inside, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. That takes a special personality to want to be a mascot, right? An entertainer. Sort of an anonymous entertainer.
Yes. Someone that wants fame, but anonymously. Is that possible?
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are clowns, great clowns, but they wouldn't normally be entertainers if they didn't have that clown suit on, right?
You're right. You're right. Maybe it gives them that sense of confidence. You don't actually know who's behind that big rubber nose.
Swing and a miss. Chucky Fick gets a strikeout. That's big for the Astros. Now the infield can back up. 2 outs, and the leadoff man comes up.
So the gold standard in baseball for most people is the Philly fanatic. Is that what you envision, a mascot that's kind of along those lines?
Yes, I've heard we need to have something for the mascot to drive on that's really cool, like the Philly fanatic. So we might have to come up with that.
So that's possible?
Fun. Yeah, why not?
Okay, like a fast 3-wheeled vehicle?
I think we should take a vote here.
All right.
Right now, the three of us take a vote, and let's decide. Let's decide what he's going to ride on next year.
Let's get a vehicle like the Philly Fanatic has, then.
Yeah, I like an armadillo.
Okay.
On wheels.
That's nice. Well, who decides the costume? Who's going to decide that? You?
No, I'm not important enough. Higher up. Somebody higher up on that list.
Okay. So we're talking about Jim Crane here. He's really going to make this call, isn't he?
Yes, I think that's probably what he's spending his nights thinking about the next mascot.
His hands.
Yes.
I'd love to pick the manager, but I got this mascot thing I got to take care of.
Yeah, we might be a little off on that one.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Heather pops it up. This will be back and out of play for Chris Snyder. Still a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
A great example there of the advantages of being ahead in the count. I mean, that was not a really good pitch by Fick. A little baby slider, didn't have a whole lot going on, and right there in the heart of the plate. But a hitter down in the count, a little bit more of a defensive approach, and you get away with more mistakes if you work from in front. That's a kind of a backup cement mixer that in a hitter's count might have gotten crushed.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Nice work, Andrea. You prevented them from scoring, and you got the news out about the mascot.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being on with us. 1-0 Cubs.
brought to you by Jack in the Box. Get the All-American Jack Combo for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. By the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. And by Mattress Firm. Save money. Sleep happy. Old Sam Houston didn't have anything from Mattress Firm. Hope he slept happy.
Well, let's hope.
He slept under the stars. Laid his head down on his horse.
Jose Altuve leads it off. It's 1-0 Cubs. He takes ball one. He took strike three his first time up. Travis Wood has faced the minimum. He walked the leadoff man in the third, but then got a double play ball hit by Abad. That's in the air to the center fielder. Mather waiting. One down for Wood.
A special get well shout out to Quentin Thomas tonight, Brownie, a longtime Astros fan out in the Woodlands. Suffered a fall the other day. He's in the hospital, 90 years of age. He's talking to a couple of his buddies today out at the golf course. A big group. They golf 3 times a week, and they all want to send on their best wishes to Quentin.
Get well, Quentin. Jed Lowry, the batter. Jed grounded out in the first inning. Maybe Jed can get a hit for Quentin. There's strike one. Jed's been out with that Lancaster team in the playoffs after playing one game for Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi was eliminated, and then he moved on out west to Lancaster. He was back last night and now in the starting lineup with a 1-1 count, his second time up. Lancaster advanced to the California League Championship Series with a win over High Desert last night, 9-6, and won that series 3-1.
Wood doing a real nice job here of working both sides of the plate. We talk about it a lot, how pitchers have to throw to both sides of the plate, and especially the guys who aren't real hard throwers that just can't blow it by you in the strike zone. So he's throwing a lot of cutters in to open up that outside edge. Makes the hitters inside conscious, so they got to think about trying to be quick to get to that cutter in, and that buys him a little wiggle room for his fastball changeup combination away. For the most part, he's been able to execute those pitches on both sides of the plate. We've seen him most of the times we've seen him, he's been good. It's been just like this. Quick tempo, a lot of strikes, both sides of the plate.
That's a strikeout looking. Lowry is rung up. That's number 4.
A dart. He's throwing a dart over the outside edge here. Perfect little backdoor cutter.
2 outs, and it's J.D. Martinez next. He fouled out earlier. Tri-City won its playoff game last night. It was a walk-off 5-4 win in the 10th against Hudson Valley. It's a liner to right field. Sapel with the catch. It goes quickly in the 4th inning. Wood has faced the minimum, and he leads it 1-0.
The 7-game homestand continues tomorrow night as Lucas Harrell makes his 29th start of the season. Astros' most pleasant surprise of 2012 faces the Phils for the second time this season. Start that 4-game series. Lucas 10-9 at 3.83 ERA is Minute Maid Park. ERA 2.06. Only Bud Norris has a lower home ERA. 6:30 for Astros Live. This has been your Mazda game break. Boys, the rumors of the Phillies' demise have been greatly exaggerated. They're getting up off the mat. Who would have thunk that, Ronnie, JD?
Well, you know, we knew they had the talent, but then they traded away some people, and Hunter Pence and some others, and it has been pretty remarkable what they've been doing lately.
Does remind you a lot of the last 2 weeks of the season. Could be a lot like the last 2 weeks of last season. Some teams falling back and some other teams getting hot all at the same time.
Great for the fans.
Yep.
Darwin Barney has a count of 2-0. Chucky Fick came in and pulled a rescue job with runners at second and third and one out, not allowing any runs in his 4th inning of work. His first inning was the 4th. There's a strike and it's 2-1. Barney had scored the run in the 1st inning after a single, coming home on a Castillo single. Cubs have 4 hits. The Astros have none. So Chucky Fick taking over for Abad, who went 3 1/3, allowing 4 hits, 1 run, walking 3, fanning 2, throwing 68 pitches, 37 for strikes. Chucky gets a fresh start here. And the foul ball takes it to 3 balls, 2 strikes. He got in on Barney with that one. Chucky worked a scoreless inning Monday night. Came back from Oklahoma City September 4th. He has spent most of the year in AAA, the St. Louis and Houston affiliates. Tap foul. In that Cardinal loss at San Diego 3-2, Clayton Richard gave up 2 runs over 7 innings as the Padres swept the Redbirds.
Keep an eye on that Padre club next year.
Yeah.
Make some noise.
Out to second. Down on a knee, Altuve. 1 out. Yeah, they were hit hard with injuries this year. Some good young players. Bud Black's a nice skipper. Luke Gregerson got his 7th save of the year today, and Kyle Loesch was the loser. Loesch just 14-3. It's Castro coming up next. Castro grounded out and he walked on 4 pitches. Redbirds have 6 games remaining with the Astros. That's strike 1. Rays and Orioles are tied at 2. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning. You know, a guy like Chucky Fick can really come in and pick up the pace, throwing strikes, set a nice tone for the middle innings.
Yeah, I like the way he's going about it here tonight, working quickly.
It's 1-2.
Keep the ball down with movement, throw a lot of strikes. You got a chance to be successful.
Yep. Chucky's 26 years old. He was a waiver claim by the Astros from St. Louis, from Thousand Oaks, California, and Fresno State. Oh, nice arm angle and a strikeout. Number 3.
Castro had seen Fick throw a number of those sinkers that moved in and down and in on a right-handed hitter, and he was clearing out that front side looking for something he could jerk. And so if you're looking in there, I don't know why you would offer at the slider off the plate other than the fact that he's just a free swinger.
Soriano has walked and fly to center. Both times the count's been 3-2 on Alfonso. Looks at ball 1. Washington leads the Mets 1-0 after 6 in New York. Ryan Zimmerman homer is 22nd. You know, even without Steven Strasburg, the Nationals have the hardest throwing starting rotation in the majors on average velocity of fastballs. Upstairs.
Gio throws hard. Jordan Zimmerman could light up the radar gun.
Yep.
Detweiler's got a decent heater.
Yeah. John Lannon's pitching for them tonight. He's now out of the game after 5 2/3 innings, a 5-hit shutout ball, working against Matt Harvey.
He's not a hard thrower. So somebody came up with that stat that without Strasburg, they're still the hardest throwing.
Yep.
Rotation.
Somebody came up with that.
Might have to challenge that one.
Okay.
Probably lose.
A little looper, and that's a foul ball. 3-2.
Last year, Soriano beat the Astros, maybe it was 2 years ago, and a hit just like that at Wrigley. So it's only fair that this goes foul.
And it was clearly foul. Doug Eddings saw it. You know, we were talking about that series in New York. We had the camera angles pointed down the right field and left field lines, and that was an experiment. Ran into umpiring supervisor Randy Marsh in Cincinnati. He said, well, we're just gathering data, but he said umpires very seldom miss those calls. Fly ball left field, and that is in the seats for a Soriano long ball and a 2-0 Cubs lead. Number 29 for Soriano, giving him 95 runs batted in.
Soriano has not hit for much of an average in this ballpark over the years, but he does have good home run numbers here. Right-handed pull hitter. Doesn't have to get all of it to take advantage of the Crawford boxes.
That's his 26th career homer against Houston.
Slider flattened out, not unlike the one he threw Mather last inning. He got away with.
Just made it into the boxes. Now Castillo drove in the first run with strike one. Cubs have hit 121 long balls. 29 by Alfonso. He's now tied Ralph Kiner for 72nd on the all-time home run list with 369. Kiner's in the Hall of Fame. Rolled out to shortstop. Lowry. And that ends the top of the 5th inning. The Cubs lead it 2-0. A homer in the top of the 5th inning. And let's see what we have on AT&T Trivia tonight. Since 1991, the Astros have had 1 Rookie of the Year and 3 have finished runner-up. Name all 4. Well, we know Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah, I'll take care of that part of it.
Okay. We got Jeff. He was the Rookie of the Year. 3.
Since then, 3 Astros have finished the runner-up.
Okay. Since then. So that was a good year for rookies. Boods wants Roy Oswalt, and I think he's right with that one for second place. And strike one to Maxwell.
What year is that? 97? 98?
I think it was later than that.
2000? When did he come along?
I think Roy came in 01.
How about Lance? Did he have a big rookie year?
Lance, let's see. He was in 2000. Yeah. Yeah, he's a candidate.
Jeremy Robertson didn't, did he? He won 15 games, but he had a 5-something ERA.
Yeah, I don't think he finished that high in the voting. Let's see. Astros rookies in the last decade or a little bit more than that.
Or going way back, because Baggy was 91. It's since 91.
Right. Well, that's true. Since 91. All right. Billy Wagner, maybe? That's not right. Okay.
Steve Finley?
Steve Finley is not correct. Brian Hunter. A different speedy
How
center
about the
fielder.
shortstop? Orlando Miller. Do you have a good rookie year?
Don't remember.
This is a good question. It's a very difficult question.
Yeah. Smash into left field, and the Astros get on the board with their first hit of the night. Maxwell takes his hitting streak to 6 games. And the leadoff man is on here in the 5th inning, trailing 2-0.
Well, if you had number 4 in the no-hit pool, you're a winner. First hit of the game comes off the bat of Justin Maxwell for the Astros.
Kind of the go-to guy in this series for the Astros. Mitch Molesky.
14 home runs his rookie year.
Still trying to think of a speedy center fielder, though. Strike one to Matt Dominguez. We got that clue privately. But we can now reveal it to everyone because we can't come up with it.
James Mouton.
Okay. That's not right, though. Good guess.
Can't be Gerald Young. He would have come along before.
Right. Chucky Carr wasn't a rookie when he came to Houston.
Well, Willie Taveras had a good rookie year.
Yeah, there we go. Willie T. How many do we have? We still have to come up with 2 more.
How many are there altogether?
Okay, we need 1 more. Another pitcher. Well, Brad Lidge. 94. Line shot left field. Soriano back. Leaping at the wall. Soriano made the catch. Here's Maxwell rounding second. Barney relays for a double play. Tremendous play by Soriano. Maxwell was around second base. Soriano got it back in, and Barney made a very good play also.
And just overly aggressive there by J-Max, who made the big play in the field last night. Tonight he's victimized as Soriano goes back to the wall. I thought my man of the match was going to hit one out of here, but he didn't quite get it. And Soriano, with his back up against the wall, makes the catch, fires it back in, and Barney tracks it down and then fires over to J-Max. You just need to go about the step shy of second base on a ball like that, and he probably would have had time to retreat.
Double play, 7-4-3. Soriano picks up his 11th outfield assist of the year. He's in the top 4 in the National League. Brandon Laird taking ball 1. He's ahead 1-0 in the count. He hit a fly ball to right earlier. Pops it up. Castro in. And Wood has still faced the minimum. Even though he's given up a hit, he leads it 2-0. Castillo in the first, a homer from Soriano in the fifth. AT&T Trivia stumped us again. Who were those second place finishers? John Hudek in '94 was a rookie. Yeah, we missed him.
Hootie was an all-star that year.
Yep. Runner up to Mondesi, Oswalt in '01, Tavares in '05, Jeff Bagwell Rookie of the Year in '91.
His runner-up was Orlando Merced.
True. And Ariel Del Rosario is pitcher number 3 for Houston at AAA Oklahoma City. His contract was purchased from there Monday. He was 4-1 with a 5.01 ERA.
EDR works from that low arm angle, slings it up there. Sinker slider, essentially the weapons he comes after the hitters with. Thick, an inning and 2/3. Allowing the solo home run. Other than that, he was really good.
Vitters looks at ball 1. He's 1 for 2. This is the 4th stint in the majors for Del Rosario this year. Pitching for the first time in 10 days. His last outing was for Oklahoma City against Round Rock. Foul back off the screen. It's a 1-ball 1-strike count. So could have a little rust on him, but every reason for Tony to get him in this ball game, get him a little work. There'll be a lot of sitting around for a relief pitcher in September if things are going well for his team. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cincinnati 2, Pittsburgh 1, bottom of the 7th in Cincinnati. Tampa Bay and Baltimore tied 2-2 after 6. Vitters strikes out. Strikeout number 6 for the Astros pitchers.
A little drop down slider. The drop down was the key because the front shoulder got a little wobbly there for Vitters because that pitch just hung there in the middle of the strike zone, but he pulled off of it, and that's why you drop down.
Dave Chappelle has a hit and a walk in this game. Ball 1. He singled and then took second on the throw back in the 4th inning. Cubs were set up with runners at second and third, nobody out, but they failed to score. That's in tight for a 2-ball no strike count to Chappelle, former Cincinnati Red. In that Washington game, it's still 1-0 Nationals. Bottom of the 7th at Citi Field in New York.
I heard a stat the other day that the Mets, I think they snapped it, but they went 109 consecutive innings at home without putting up a crooked number.
Oh,
didn't have one single multi-run inning in that stretch.
Wow, that's a rough year. Popped up. Snyder back. He's sprinting to get there, but out of play for him.
109 innings, Brownie.
109 innings. Good grief.
12 games worth.
That's ridiculous.
Thereabouts.
Yankees lead 5-1 at Boston. They're in the top of the 7th inning. Robinson Cano hit his 30th. Curtis Granderson hit a pair to give him 37. That is quite a race to follow in the AL East right now. Baltimore and the Yankees tied. Tampa Bay 2 games out. Foul back. That's the way it looks, JD.
Yeah.
Very intriguing.
Oakland's on another great run. Just when you think they're going to fall off, they get hot. I mean, not only are they right there in the wild card, but they're just 3 games behind the Rangers.
Yeah.
They've won 5 in a row.
Line drive, right field corner. That's in for a hit. And hustling into second with another double, Chappelle.
The time you look up, this guy's on second base.
It's his 4th double of this 3-game series.
Just carves this one into the right field corner. Gets himself into scoring position with 1 out.
5 hits for the Cubs, 1 for the Astros. Anthony Recker's a batter. Recker has popped short and fly to left. Pitcher spot comes up next. David Phelps started for the Yankees tonight. He went 5 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run. Ball 1. Aaron Cook got the call for Boston. He's gone after 5 innings of 3-run baseball.
Andy Pettit working his way back from the disabled list through a simulated game yesterday, I believe.
He could make a difference.
The Brewers just scored a touchdown. Put a 7 spot on the board. They're still batting in the bottom of the 5th. They had been trailing 2-0. Now it's 7-2 in support of Giovanni Gallardo.
You might take that to the bank. Bouncer third. Dominguez over to Laird. 2 outs.
History was made on this date 50 years ago, September 12th, 1962. Tom Chaney struck out 21. Major League record. You say, wait a minute, I thought it was 20 with Wood and Clemens. Well, Chaney did it in 16 innings. Threw 228 pitches in that game.
Travis Wood has struck out both times tonight. 228 pitches.
Yep. That's when men were men.
Did he immediately check into a surgical suite the next day?
No, but his career didn't last much longer.
Oh, okay.
I think he won 10 games after that as a big leaguer.
Okay. Tom Chaney. Ground ball third. Dominguez and Laird repeat the play. And it's no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Middle of the 6th inning, 2-0 Chicago.
As part of the Houston Astros 50th anniversary celebration presented by the Methodist Hospital System, we'd like to invite you to the Legends Luncheon on Saturday, September 22nd. Enjoy lunch and a 50th anniversary program with your favorite Astros alumni, including members of the all-time 25-man roster. To get your tickets to be at the Legends Luncheon, go to Astros.com. Speaking of Legends, Brownie, back to this movie. Are you and JD going to be at the premiere sitting next to Clint?
No, we're not.
Really?
We haven't been invited, but we can buy a ticket.
That's a little disappointing.
I just want to play a round of golf on his golf course.
Where's
not
this
asking too much.
Something.
Monterey Peninsula out there.
Okay.
It was hair, guitar cam on the big board, and that lady was rocking it.
Yes, she was.
Amazingly, it was the same song that they were both playing to.
Was it?
Yeah.
They had
just different interpretations.
They had different metronomes inside their heads. Chris Snyder comes to the plate, bottom of the 6th inning, 2-0 Cubs. This ball went up high from Travis Wood. Snyder drew a leadoff walk in the 3rd, one of only 2 Houston base runners. Both have been erased on double plays. Bob Brenly is just walking down the hallway talking about Travis Wood and his work ethic. Very hard worker. Kind of guy who's easy to root for Cubs fans. Popped up and it's caught by Barney, and he is getting big time results tonight.
Yeah, he doesn't have great stuff, so you probably wouldn't envision him as a front man in your rotation, but see him in the back of your rotation. There's going to be games where he's going to get knocked around a little bit, but for the most part he's competitive, going to keep you in games. He's just 25 years of age. The more he pitches up here, the more he'll learn how to attack hitters. You can see him settling in and having a nice career.
Yep. Brandon Barnes struck out earlier. Rips a line drive. Barnes aboard with hit number 2 for Houston, jumping all over that first pitch.
Like a first pitch changeup that just hung there. Real nice swing by Barnes. Jimmy Paredes was out on deck, but after the base hit, he was called back for Matt Downs. A 2-run game. Tony D going to go with Downsy. More likely to pop one out of here.
Downs is 2 for 5 lifetime against Travis Wood. Meanwhile, it's Fernando Rodriguez in the bullpen. And Ariel Del Rosario leaving after 1 inning of 1-hit shutout baseball with no walks, 1 strikeout.
Hey, here comes the pinch hitter scouting report visit.
All right, here's the way we're going to work this: up and in, low and away.
Don't walk them. Don't give in. Be aggressive, but not too aggressive.
Just make your pitches.
Art Fowler, longtime pitching coach Billy Martins. When he used to go out there, he used to tell the pitcher, "Look, Billy's getting mad at me. Come on." So that's what he said. You're making Billy mad, and he's yelling at me. So get somebody out here. That was his message.
Good message.
Yeah.
Matt Downs, a 206 hitter, has had 165 at bats with the Astros. He has 7 homers, 14 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, Matt is 4 for 32 with an RBI. Last year, he was tremendous as a pinch hitter. Altuve on deck. And the throw goes over on Barnes. Astros just haven't had many opportunities. They've had 2 leadoff men reach in the 3rd and 5th innings. But they really haven't gotten anybody to second base other than Maxwell rounding second after the ball was caught in left field.
They didn't really take ownership, did he?
No.
He got there, but
beat a hasty retreat.
Yeah.
Strike 1 to Downs. Matt's 28 years old, from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Went to the University of Alabama. Last year, really good off the bench in situations like this. No balls, 2 strikes, 3 pinch hit homers.
The year he had last year coming off the bench got everybody's attention. And folks around the league now know that he could jump on a pretty good fastball, so they've been more cautious with him this year.
Tough to repeat that kind of a season he had as a pinch hitter. So not a lot of opportunities. It's 1-2, and ironically too, the better you are at pinch hitting, the more pressure situations you go into and the tougher pitchers you face. So it gets even more difficult once you're successful to continue at that level.
Yeah, we're going to save you for that at bat off of Aroldis Chapman in the 9th.
Thanks.
Thanks, Skip. Appreciate it. But throw me a bone every now and then and give me a start against some soft tossing lefties. And pad my numbers and build up my confidence.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Matt Downs. Throw goes over to first. Texas 5, Cleveland 2. They're in the bottom of the 5th in Arlington. Josh Hamilton hit his 41st home run. Adrian Beltre, number 32. Milwaukee has scored 8 in the 5th, still batting, leading Atlanta 8-2. Foul back. Boy, if the Braves sag again at the end of the season. Oh, it's going to be a long winter in Atlanta for 2 straight years like that.
Yeah, that's their third. Well, if they lose this one, it'll be 3 in a row. But they had been playing solid baseball. They'd won 7 of 10, and they're still pretty comfortable out in front in that wild card chase. Had a 5-game lead, 5.5 game lead over St. Louis coming into play tonight.
So if it's Atlanta and St. Louis, the wild card, you got to throw your best pitcher out there, right? If you're the Braves and Cardinals in that 1-game playoff.
Best available, yeah, depending on how, because you're probably going to have to go right to the bitter end, whoever that second wild card team is, before they clinch.
Yeah. Strikeout looking. That's 5 strikeouts for Wood. Jay Chapman warming up for the Cubs.
I've seen Wood do this a number of times tonight. Come through with a big pitch, staying out of the heart of the zone, flipping that outside corner. That's the other part of it too. When you kind of, you're the guy that, hey, you've got power, and it's hard to go to the plate and think about trying to hit a home run.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's what Downs is doing, but I would think that would be something you'd have to really work at mentally, to just go up there and get a good pitch to hit, be willing to punch it the other way, hit it on a line somewhere.
I always thought that Manny Mota type pinch hitters were the best. Altuve's 0 for 2. Short stroke, make contact, geared to facing some of the top relief pitchers in the game, and just try to move the ball around the field, put it in play. Jay Chapman warming up. Danny Walling very good for the Astros.
Yeah, you know, and it's great when somebody comes off the bench and hits a pinch hit home run for you, but how often does that happen?
Seldom.
Jambi's had a nice run in that role. But the other thing about Jambi, though, he would walk a ton too.
Right. Yes. It's about not making outs, and it's certainly acceptable and admirable for a pinch hitter to come up and reach base in any possible fashion. On 1 to Altuve. Bunted. Wood over, and he fires to first. Excellent play. He lives up to his billing as a very good fielder, and it's no runs a hit and the man stranded. It's 2-0 Cubs.
by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. And by AT&T. Rethink possible. Some of the scenes from downtown in Houston as we are back at Minute Maid Park. Cubs lead it 2-0. Fernando Rodriguez is on the mound, and Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies are still in the booth.
Rethink possible comeback. Fernando Rodriguez comes in. He is 1-10 with a 5.74 ERA. He'll be pitcher number 4. Del Rosario worked a scoreless inning, giving up a hit, striking out a man. Fernando got the loss Monday in the 4-1 Cubs win here.
Been a tough year for Fernando with those 10 losses out of the bullpen. He soldiers on. He's out there in battles. He's going to battle the top of the order now. Mather, Barney, Castro due up for the Cubs in the top of the 7th.
Dale Swaim is pinch hitting for Mather.
It's not going to be the Beeve. It's going to be David DeJesus.
Yep. DeJesus, a 264 hitter with 7 homers, 45 runs batted in. Has a good on base average of 352. As a pinch hitter, he's 2 for 8, 1 homer, 6 runs batted in for DeJesus, former Kansas City Royal, Oakland A. Strike 1. Mather was 0 for 3. DeJesus is 32 years old. He signed as a free agent with the Cubs last November, a 2-year deal for $8.5 million. Chop foul, and it's no balls, 2 strikes.
In that ball game in Milwaukee, 8-2 Brewer lead. Ricky Weeks has hit his 19th home run. He's had a nice second half after really struggling. And Jason Hayward has just had a nice bounce back year. He hit his 26th home run tonight. On his way to stardom.
Yeah, he had a bump in the road last year, but he's rebounded nicely from that. Fastball fouled away.
Giants with a 5 spot on the Rockies in the top of the 1st, lead 5-2 after 3. That's Tim Lincecum tonight for San Francisco. Rosario, the rookie catcher for the Rockies, has hit his 24th home run.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding offensive year, but Jim Tracy has put him on warning about his defensive work. 13,101 the attendance tonight. Rosario's not been blocking those low pitches, and the Rockies just feel that he has a lot of improvement, and unless he makes that, he's going to lose out on some playing time. 1-2 the count. Into right field. Pinch single for DeJesus. Hit number 7 for the Cubs.
DeJesus stays back on the breaking ball and yanks it through the hole between 1st and 2nd. DeJesus has not been an effective base stealer this year. And caught more than he's been successful, but Fernando's been easy to run on. So we'll see how the Cubs play it here. They get a lot of options. They could try straight steal, sacrifice, play a little hit and run with Barney.
Barney singled his first time up. He's 1 for 3.
This Rosario kid, though, he's got to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation now, doesn't he? Putting up these numbers.
Should be.
I mean, they're Colorado numbers, so you have to take that into account.
Divide everything by pi r squared.
Yeah.
Strike to Barney. Detroit 3, White Sox 1. They're in the top of the 6th at Chicago. Kevin Youkilis hit his 17th home run. Tigers trying to fight their way back.
This is their tonight and tomorrow, their final games against the White Sox this year. They have Scherzer tonight and Verlander tomorrow.
It's a pretty good twosome to throw at any club. It's 1-1 to Barney. Now Scherzer is the starter. He's gone 5, and Gavin Floyd came off the shelf to take that start for the White Sox. They have moved Francisco Liriano to the bullpen now. It's going to be his start.
When you hear Barney, do you think Rubble, Fife, the Dinosaur, or Frank?
The Dinosaur.
You go with the Dinosaur?
Yeah. Which kind of shows you my viewing habits.
You got grandkids.
Yeah, the runner goes. There's a chop off the glove of Fernando, and now first and second, nobody out.
I talked about all the options available to the Cubs there with the running game, and they just decided to play it straight up, and a little chopper by Barney. And Fernando may have tweaked something here. You know, his first step is in, and then he reaches back over his head. Little ankle roll.
Yep, there it was.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, if he stays put and handles that ball, I don't know if he has a play. Maybe he has a shot at Barney. He was in the air a while. Nobody behind him is going to be able to come in and make a play on that kind of a ball. Cubs scored a run in the first inning on a couple of singles and a walk, and the singles in that inning weren't hit all that sharply either. Barney had a little flare into center field, and then Castillo poked one through the hole on the right side off the end of the bat. It goes as an E1 on Fernando. There's some American League Cy Young candidates. David Price having another big year. Weaver's been shut down for a start. He pitches tomorrow, I believe. Sale, the youngster, we saw him. He was dazzling against the Astros. Verlander, he's in this conversation every year. Hernandez won it last year. Fernando Rodney out of the Tampa bullpen has had a monster season.
That one looks like a wide open contest. Here's Starlin Castro now. He's 0-2 with a walk. And ball one. Dodgers got 2 in the first at Arizona. They lead 2-0 now after 1.5. Rang's on the mound for them. Foul back, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Trevor Cahill's pitching for Arizona tonight.
So we'll make it 4 out of 28 for the Cubs with runners in scoring position in this series. Neither club has done much in those situations. Tonight the Astros just haven't had any chances.
Strike, and it's 1-2. Astros continue to interview managerial candidates for next year's club. Mickey Story is warming up. Tony DeFrancesco, current skipper, is included in the group being considered to manage this team for next year. Big decision coming up. We don't know what the timetable is. Roll to second. Altuve with a flip. Lowry jumps up and over, and that's all they get. Barney sliding in, but he is forced. Castro reaches first. Mather to third with 1 out.
A good hustle there by Barney to get in there and upset the timing of any potential turn. It would have been very difficult with Castro going down the line.
As we promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. There's Soriano reaching the seats. A short porch in left field. The guy held on to his beer while he made the catch.
I made the attempt anyway.
Okay, didn't catch it?
No, I booted it.
Okay. Well, he kept his beer, though.
Yeah. He had his priorities in order.
Soriano has a walk and a homer in this game in 3 trips. Ground ball, and that's fair. Got to get a run home to make it 3-0. Soriano, as the ball kicks out towards center field, is in head first, and he is out. J.D. Martinez out to play the carom. And the Cubs lead it 3-0. Soriano's out at second base. He gets an RBI single.
Whips his curveball right down the line, and well played by J.D. Martinez, who comes up and makes another strong throw. Soriano had slowed down, however, Force play at second. Kerwin Danley rings him up. It's tough to be coming that hard in towards the infield and get off a good strong throw like he did. Soriano pressing his case saying, I got my hand in before I was tagged.
That's the 8th outfield assist for J.D. Martinez. Curveball to Castillo, ball 1.
He's safe. The tag was applied up around the shoulder after the hand had got on the bag. But he would have been safer had he kept running hard the whole way, and he wouldn't have had an issue.
Sure enough. Roll to Lowry. Lowry over to Laird. And the Cubs come up with a run on 2 hits with an error. And they lead it now 3-0. Uverse brings you this reverse replay. We take a look back at some action tonight from Travis Wood. He's cutting that cutter in on the right-handed hitters and running the fastball away and the backdoor sliders. So he is opening everything up and hitting various quadrants of the strike zone. Also made a nice play here on that roller.
And we compared him earlier in the ball game to Mike Hampton without the sinker, and you saw a lot of similarities. And Hampy's bury that cutter down and in. Mike had more tilt on his. Wood's cutter is more of just a horizontal little slide across the plate, a cut fastball. And again, he doesn't have that sinker that Hampton had. He's got a decent changeup, and he's very athletic. He's done what we've seen him do just about every time he pitches against the Astros, and that's be very, very crafty.
David DeJesus is moving all over center field. There's a fly ball to right by Jed Lowry. And that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. DeJesus just went out to play center after pinch hitting for Mather. He was repositioning himself. Lowry took it the other way. DeJesus still getting loose. That's 1 out for Wood. Wood has not needed a lot of good defensive work behind him. Got a lot of routine plays. It's a good play by Soriano on Dominguez fly ball. There's a line shot to left field. J.D. Martinez takes the turn. Soriano throws into second base. And Martinez, who lined out to right this time, finds an opening for a hit to left. It's aboard for J-Max. Justin Maxwell single to center in the 5th inning to break up the no-hit bid through 4.
Well, J.D. was wise to Wood's game plan there, trying to get that cutter in, and J.D. just cut it off, got the head out in front of it and hit it hard. Soriano plays deep and pays off here as he cuts it off before it gets to the wall and holds J.D. to a single.
Now Maxwell, who's single to center in the 5th after striking out. Astros have been out hit 8-3. They've made the only error in the game. Cubs have left 8. Houston has stranded 1. And there's strike 1 for Wood.
Lefty and a righty up in the Chicago bullpen.
James Russell, the lefty. Jay Chapman, the right-hander. He's been working for a while now. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The relievers work away while there have been 78 pitches thrown by Wood. 50 of them strikes. Matt Dominguez is on deck. It's 1-2. Seattle beat Toronto 3-2 in Toronto. Kevin Millwood going to 6-12 with that victory, beating Ricky Romero. Romero was really good early in the year. He has been awful in the second half. Some people think he's just not healthy. He's 8-14 with a 5.87 ERA. Wilhelmsen got his 26th save for the Mariners. Mariners are 5 games under 500, 69-84. That's the Astros' new division next year, the AL West, and there's not an easy team to beat in that division this year.
I don't know that I could name 5 Seattle Mariners.
Jesus Montero. Fly
Yeah,
ball
I
to
probably
right.
could get a lot of them on like a multiple choice.
Yeah, you could. 2 outs.
Edgar Martinez,
Ken Griffey Jr., John Olerud. Matt Dominguez is 0 for 2.
They don't even have Ichiro anymore.
No. Chris Bosio.
They got that Ackley kid.
Yeah. They have Michael Saunders. He's from Canada. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but he is from Canada.
John Jaso. I lied. I can't come up with 5.
You can.
Well, Dale Swain. Probably just going one hitter at a time here with his left-hander. Had Maxwell reached and Dominguez gone up to the plate representing the tying run, he probably would have made the move to the pen for a right-hander, but he has this 3-run cushion. Even if Dominguez pops one here, the Cubs still have the lead.
Inside for ball 2.
I'll tell you, the other guy might remind you a little bit of is a fellow Arkansan.
Yeah.
Arkansan,
I think is
Arkansan.
Yes.
Cliff Lee with that cutter.
Mm-hmm. Cliff Lee won today for the Phillies 3-1, beating Miami. And he's 5-7 this year. So if Travis Wood wins this game tonight, he's won more games than Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee spent some time on the DL, but the main part of that story was just an unbelievable run early where Lee was really pitching well, but got no run support.
Mm-hmm. Throw to first.
It's kind of crazy. It's like somebody had put a curse on Cliff Lee.
It really was. Yeah, after he signed that contract. Martinez, the base runner, with 2 outs in the inning.
Okay, you think, wait a minute, didn't he read the scouting report? I'm not going anywhere. Oh my.
2-1. As if Wood was the beneficiary of a call there. Let's see.
According to our chart, he got the inside corner at the top of the zone, but you almost never get that pitch called.
Take points off for the movement of the catcher's mitt. It's 3-1. Full count now to Dominguez. Automatic go for J.D. Martinez with the Astros down 3-0 here in the 7th. may help them to get a runner home. And then Laird on deck.
Didn't have that many pitches.
In the air, and the infielder Barney moves over for it. In the 7th inning, it's no runs, 1 hit, 1 man stranded. And after 7, it's 3-0 Cubs. We look ahead to a brand new series, and it's a brand new pitcher, Tyler Cloyd. Who's he? We'll find out tomorrow night, 6:30 on FS Houston, as Kevin Eschenfelder gives you the in-depth story of Tyler Cloyd. And it's Lucas Harrell. He's 10-9 with a 3.83 ERA. Fine season underway for Lucas. And that is tomorrow night, 6:30. Game 1 of a 4-game series.
As the games click by and the opportunities to start dwindle for these pitchers. Obviously, personal goals matter, and Lucas Harrell with a chance to finish better than 500 on a team that is playing .317 baseball. That would be quite an accomplishment.
Mickey Story has pitched well. He's 0-1 with a 2.66 ERA. Florida native has impressed with his command, with his breaking stuff. Batting average against him only .175. He's had good poise, and he will be facing pinch hitter Luis Valbuena. Batting for Josh Vitters. Vitters was 1 for 3. Valbuena gives Dale Swaim, a left-handed hitter, to lead it off here in the 8th inning. He's up 3-0, and he's pushing for more. Thinking bunt, but it's strike 1. Valbuena with a .217 batting average, a .309 on base average, is 2 for 9 pinch hitting.
It was Tyler Cloyd that we'll see tomorrow was named the top pitcher in the International League this year.
Oh, okay.
Considered to be the best pitching prospect in the Philly organization.
Fly ball goes to center field. Mr. Maxwell moving in.
Can of corn.
Have you heard of Tyler Cloyd?
A couple of days ago when he made his debut. That was it.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't locked in on that many of the prospects for the other clubs.
True.
Had a hard time to keep the Astros prospects straight. There's been so many new guys added.
There have been. It's been a dizzying year of acquisitions. Dave Chappelle is 2 for 2 with a walk. Talking with Craig Biggio and Enos Cabell around the batting cage tonight. Well, both were really impressed with Jonathan Singleton this year, AA Corpus Christi. They're both convinced he's going to be an outstanding major league hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dodgers are leading 2-1 in the bottom of the third at Arizona with Aaron Harang on the mound against Trevor Cahill. Oh, Mickey Story, he's hurt. And this is a wicked line drive. He's holding the right side of his head. Assistant athletic trainer Rex Jones gets out to him quickly. Oh, wicked line drive.
Well, I thought he got a glove on it. I thought he got a piece of it first. And this is scary after what just happened with Brandon McCarthy of the A's a few days ago. And maybe his pitching hand or arm first and then off the face. But still, that ball had a lot of steam on it. Even after the deflection, if indeed he does get a piece of it. Just off the tip of his fingers.
Oh.
That didn't really do much to soften the blow at all.
A ball like that is coming really hard. Very little reaction time. He's in his follow through. Trying to do what he can do. And sometimes a pitcher gets lucky and can turn a little bit and avoid catching the full blow. But that one got him. Looked like it was in the right jaw.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think maybe the cheekbone of the jaw. Unfortunately, not the eye.
Oh, yeah.
Scary stuff. Cheekbone. Starting to swell up already.
Green, teammates looking on. Story, the Florida native, and such a good track that he has put together this year to get to the big leagues. Joining the Astros organization, coming to the majors.
Distance between the rubber and home plate, 60 feet 6 inches. Obviously, you're a few feet closer when you finish your delivery. That ball hit on a line. You have virtually no time to react.
Jose Valdez is coming in. It's 3-0 Cubs. Back in a moment. On the right jaw by a line drive off the bat of Dave Chappelle, and his replacement is Jose Valdez. Valdez is pitcher number 6 for the Astros tonight. He worked last night, worked a hitless inning and struck out a couple. A very good outing. He was called up from Oklahoma City September 1st. He has an ERA of 0. And Tony DeFrancesco was talking with the media. He was asked about Valdez tonight during his brief media session that he holds before every game, and he said, you know, he did a good job last night, but he was really relying on his split-fingered fastball, and he has a good fastball, and I would like to see him throw that more often.
Well, here's his chance.
Yeah. He comes in with a runner at first and 1 out, and it's Anthony Recker batting. Recker is 0 for 3 in this game. Pitcher spot due up next. Cubs lead it 3-0, and they've out-hit the Astros 9-3. And they have stranded 8, so they've had a lot of traffic. And in fact, they have not been retired in 1-2-3 fashion in an inning tonight. Valdez, pitcher number 6 for the Astros. They used 6 last night and 6 Monday night. Throw goes over to first on Dave Chappelle, who just got his 3rd straight hit of the game.
Yeah, been on base 4 times. He's had a heck of a series. Astros play Record to pull on the infield. Altuve swung over towards the bag. Lowry maybe a step towards the hole at short.
There's a strike. Fastball at 90 miles per hour from Valdez there. Tampa Bay and Baltimore are tied 2-2. They're in the top of the 9th at Baltimore. Jim Johnson's pitching for the Orioles. He's had quite a year. Now Snyder goes to the mound. Valdez is 29. He got in 12 major league games last year. And he was the closer at Oklahoma City this season. Struck out 59 there in his 43 2/3 innings. And he had 21 saves. Pitches outside, and there's the ball to make it 1-1 on the field. Doug Eddings ruled he checked his swing. Miguel Gonzalez started that game for Baltimore, and Alex Cobb is a Tampa Bay starter. Long gone now. Out toward the gap in right center field. Maxwell going for it. That's extra bases into the gap. And here's Chappelle coming around third, coming to the plate, and he will score to make it 4-0 on an RBI double by Recker. Recker's 2nd RBI with the Cubs. He's 1 for 4 tonight. That's his first double of the season. And Chappelle has been on all 4 times, and he scores.
Adding in injury to insult, or insult to injury for Mickey Story. Chappelle whacks one off his mug, and then comes around to score to put an earned run on Mickey's record. A nice swing of the bat by Record, getting extended through that offering from Valdez.
For Story, it's 1/3 of an inning tonight. 1 hit, 1 run allowed, no walks or strikeouts. Now Travis Wood bats and looks at ball 1 upstairs. He's 0 for 3. Yankees are batting in the top of the 9th at Boston, leading the Red Sox 5-3. That's out of play. 1-1 to Wood. Alex Rodriguez has hit pretty well for the Yankees since he returned to the lineup. He's 1 for 4 tonight. He's DHing. Phelps went 5 2/3, and Joe Girardi is just ripping through his bullpen in that game. He's used 6 relievers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Be interesting if there's a three-way tie atop the AL East. Baltimore has a better record than the Yankees currently within the division. They split their 18-game series 9 games each. So the next tiebreaker is record within the division, and currently Baltimore is 3 games better than the Yankees.
So if there's a three-way tie, one team, because of the tiebreaker, will be deemed the division champion.
I believe that's the way it works.
There's a potential there where those teams could tie and also be tied with another club from outside the division for the wild card.
Yeah.
So you could have 2 separate three-way ties.
It could get crazy.
What a mess that would be.
It would be a huge mess. Strikeout of Wood. That's out number 2. Well, they could be playing off for a week before the other playoffs start. Travel days could be disappearing for the playoffs if they get backlogged. Baltimore and New York currently in a dead heat. Tampa Bay only 2 back in the wild card. There you have that picture.
Yeah. You know, what Oakland's doing in Los Angeles, you could easily see a scenario where there's about 5 clubs with identical records.
Yes. David DeJesus singled in the 7th inning in a pinch hit assignment. Stayed in to play center field. There's ball 1 to him. Cubs have reached double digits in hits now with 10. The Giants, with that 5-run first, are riding that one through 5 to a 5-2 lead. Texas leads Cleveland by that same score in the top of the 8th. Story about Roy Oswalt tonight in one of the Dallas papers. You know, apparently he's pretty quiet in the clubhouse, and things have not gone well for Roy at all. And one writer thinks that he's just, you know, kind of pondering things at this point. Well, is this what I wanted to do when I came back?
Yeah, it's hard to, you know, to be a guy who's, you know, at the center of things, being the lead dog in a rotation, and then you get to a point in your career where you're probably feels like an afterthought over there, the way he's been used. And he hasn't performed well, so the usage is justified. Now he's got this forearm strain.
Yes.
So that's why, you know, came out of that start, I thought he might take it to the house. But, but the other side of it is, he's the guy with a lot of pride. He's on a club that's headed to the postseason, and he's thinking, if I could find a way to contribute, there could still be some big moments ahead.
Well, he's right. 2 balls and strike. You know, the Rangers don't have a big lead, but they do have the luxury of allowing a guy like Oswalt a little bit of time to come back from an injury, because it can be a very lengthy postseason. That might be the type of thing where he's not eligible for 1 or 2 rounds of the playoffs, but then he feels better and comes back for a World Series.
Yeah, if somebody's giving it up or somebody else gets hurt.
Yep. 3 balls and a strike. It's Detroit 6, White Sox 1 in the 7th.
I haven't really seen him pitch since he joined the Rangers. I know the numbers aren't good, but I don't know about the stuff.
No.
And I guess that would be the key for me. If he was throwing the ball close to what he did in his prime, even though he hasn't pitched well, you hope that he could figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Strike for Valdez. That makes it 3-2 now to DeJesus. Jeff Kent will be here Friday night. Throw out the first pitch, sign some autographs. Fresh off his Survivor appearance. Jeff lives over in the Austin area. Up the right field line, and that goes foul. Boy, he has some good years here. A hard-nosed player. Should be a Hall of Famer. Is that a Cubs fan down there getting that ball? I think it was. Yeah. Hey, there's kind of a movement from some Houston fans to go to Wrigley Field for that final game for the Astros in Wrigley this season. De Jesus draws a walk. First and second now.
I'm guessing there'll be seats available.
Yeah, probably so. Darwin Barney is 1 for 4. He singled and scored in that first inning. Yeah, there's never been a team that has moved from the National League to the American League. Now the Brewers moved from the American League to the National League. Ground ball to second. Altuve over to first. And 1 run scores on 2 hits with 2 men left. It's 4-0 Chicago in the 8th.
Remind you to subscribe to MLB.tv today to take advantage of new low pricing and see every remaining Astros out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Astros.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv means baseball everywhere. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. 4-0 Cubs. They chat amongst themselves while Luis Valbuena takes over at third base. Bottom of the 8th inning, and it's Brandon Laird leading it off for Houston. That one's in tight for ball 1. Brandon's 0 for 2. The Astros have been held to 3 singles by Travis Wood, and nobody's reached second base. Wood delivers that one in the strike zone. That evens the count at 1-1. It's 1-2 for Travis Wood, who is shooting for his first major league complete game. This is his 57th start. Don't know if he'll be allowed to go for it in the 9th or not. He's at 90 pitches. He might. Foul back by Laird. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Cincinnati knocked off Pittsburgh 2-1. Homer Bailey going to 11-9 with that victory over A.J. Burnett. He's 15-7. J.J. Hoover got his first save. How about that? In the absence of Aroldis Chapman. Ground ball second.
1-run ball game.
Yeah.
Happens when you have a comfortable lead.
Yes, it does. The Phillies are 18-6 in their last 24. They're coming in here to start a 4-game series tomorrow night. A.J. Pierzynski has also been hot with a career-high 26 homers. Matt Kemp, though, on the other side, 6 for his last 40, and he's been banging into walls. He's been banged up. Curtis Granderson, 9 for his last 54 coming into tonight, and the Pirates 13-26 since August 1st. Snyder takes a look at it. There is the ball to Snyder. Walked and popped up. Brandon Barnes is on deck. Wood pumps it in for a strike to even the count at 1-1. John Lennon and Washington shut out the Mets 2-0 in New York. Matt Harvey. Bruce Doran got his second save. 2-1. You know, when the Nats were here, we heard some rumblings that maybe Storen would be taking over as the closer for Tyler Clippard. Reiner Cruz is warming up for Houston. Not to say that he has, but that gives Davey Johnson another option anyway.
Yeah, Clippard got the save, I think, in last night's game.
That's a pleasant situation for Davey there at the end of games to have those two choices now with Storen back from his injury. 3-2.
Yeah, we talked so much about the Nationals' rotation. They have a very good bullpen, too.
Could be a most interesting team come postseason, even without Strasburg. They're 89-54 now. Strike three looking.
This guy is painting. He is absolutely locked in.
6 strikeouts.
There's number 6. His command of that side of the plate has been outstanding.
Brandon Barnes has struck out and singled to center. On that hit, he jumped on the first pitch from Wood. See what he does this time. No. Ball 1. John Lennon now 3-0 for Washington with a 2.41 ERA. He got home run support from Ian Desmond, his 23rd, and Ryan Zimmerman, his 22nd. You know, the Nats have some good balance in that lineup too, with Desmond and Zimmerman and
Zimmerman's been on fire in the second half.
He really has.
Yeah, really, you look at the numbers here, inning by inning, the pitch count, he has not been pushed at all tonight. It's a great lesson to watch this guy work. You know, an 87, 88 mile an hour fastball. And he's thrown a lot of them. He's thrown a lot of fastballs. And it's not like he's just flipping up curveballs and changeups. 2 seamers away, cutters in.
2-1. Foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Barnes. Tyler Green is on deck. Pitcher spot is due up next. Baltimore got a run in the bottom of the 9th and beat Tampa Bay 3-2. Jim Johnson won that one, beating Kyle Farnsworth.
Just another 1-run win for the Orioles.
Boy, they're amazing in these 1-run games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're going to look up their record in 1-run games. It's phenomenal. Should have it by tomorrow night.
Phenomenal and inexplainable too.
Yeah.
Explicable.
That's just not anything you can really nail down, is it?
No.
Let's see. Baltimore in 1-run games is now 26-7.
You can argue, though, they've got it going on. They have that feeling that they're going to come back, so they don't give up. Well, most clubs don't give up. You see teams that good bullpens, bad bullpens. From one year to the next, win a lot of 1-run games. I don't know. I don't think there's a formula. They're having one of those years.
Yeah.
Chalk it up mostly to luck.
Got the magic going. Was she hurt? Couldn't tell. Wood is shaking off a lot of signs here from Castillo in the 8th inning. Ground ball foul.
Speaking of Orioles, their hats are starting to sell around the country.
Unfortunately, that woman we were looking at on camera did get hit by that foul ball. Sending to her now. up the right field line. Here's a long sprint for Sapelt into foul territory, but out of play for him. First batch of fans. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They're scrambling. Oh, what range. That's just not going to get it done, fellas. What is this?
Left his feet a little too early.
Yes.
Got to run under that ball first.
It's a liner to left. One hops the wall. Soriano picks it up at the base of the wall, and that makes it a double for Barnes. He's 2 for 3.
I think Alfonso turned around to play that one off the wall, and it bounced next to him.
Yeah.
A nice job here by Barnes. Pulling the hands in, getting to that cut fastball. Look at Soriano's looking at the wall, and the ball lands at his feet.
Double number 2 for Barnes. Dale Swaim's coming out. Connor Green's been announced as the pinch hitter. Dale's looking out to the bullpen as he makes this walk. 107 pitches for Wood. That's going to be it for him. Quite a night for Wood, who began the night with an ERA of 2.09 against Houston in 7 starts and has come out and lowered it. 4-0 Cubs. Back in a moment. Astros. The Astros have a runner at second. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. While the pitcher warms up, we'll take a look at wins in the last at bat. And it's Baltimore and Oakland, 2 teams who've really captured the magic in the American League with 20 wins in their final at bat this year.
And we've talked a lot this year about run differential. Baltimore is actually being outscored by their opponent this year by 21 runs coming into play tonight. Contrast that with the Yankees, who have outscored their opponent by 92 runs. Tells you that Baltimore has been very lucky. Not to take away from what they've done. It's been an incredible year there.
Lucky is good.
Lucky is good.
Sean Kemp is 3-6. He's been in 71 games with an ERA of 3.62.
Now Oakland, on the other hand, all those 1-run wins, but they've still been really good. They've outscored their opponent by 83 runs.
Okay.
So, if you were a sabermatician and looking at these numbers, you would argue, well, Oakland is a little bit more legit than Baltimore.
Right. Fernando Martinez is a pinch hitter, 238, 3 homers, 9 runs batted in. He's hitting for Tyler Green, who was announced as the pinch hitter for Jose Valdez. And with 2 outs, he tries to deliver off the bench against Camp, who's 36 years old. Camp pitched in the Monday night game. The 4-1 Cubs win.
Fernando's been swinging the bat well lately. He's hit safely in 12 of his last 14 ball games. Camp, a finesse type right-hander, not going to overpower you. 5 out of his last 11. Little line drive over short would work here.
Ground ball will work into right center field for an RBI, scoring Barnes to make it 4-1 and break up the shutout. RBI single by the pinch hitter, Martinez. That's his 10th run batted in. He's 1 for 4 pinch hitting now.
I'll close the book on Travis Wood. Another outstanding start for him against the Astros. Last time we saw him, he pitched 7 2/3, allowed 3 hits, no runs. Tonight, 7 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run. And there's this run coming home on a good solid single by Martinez after the Barnes at the feet of Soriano double.
Altuve bats. And a strike 1. Jose's 0 for 3. Tried to bunt his way on in the 6th, but Wood made a nice play to get him.
Russell, who was up earlier, continues to throw in the pen. Good chance he comes in to turn Lowry around if he comes to bat in this inning.
It's 1-1. Tim Bogar is coaching third and managing the Red Sox. Bobby Valentine must have been tossed from that game. Chipper Jones got a standing ovation at Miller Park in what should be his final at bat in Milwaukee. 1-2. Farewell tour for Chipper, but will he go to the playoffs? Nate McLouth won that game for Baltimore on a walk-off single. Bouncer in the hole, backhanded Castro, long throw, not in time. Infield hit Altuve. Castro did everything well, but Altuve beat it.
According to coolstandings.com, there's a 99.2% chance that the Braves will go to the postseason.
Ooh.
Based on their record, their lead, and strength of remaining schedule and all that good stuff.
Nice. Here's a thought. Jed Lowry, who's been out for almost 2 months, is at the plate representing the potential tying run in this game.
In his career, he's been better right-handed than left. This year, just the opposite, though. This by far has been his better side. That's why I thought they might go to Russell here.
Lowry's 2 for 5 against Camp. With ball 1.
Now looking at the numbers, though, Camp, the type of guy that is usually pretty good against lefties. Good changeup, good sinker.
Takes first strike. It's 1-1. Travis Wood in 7 2/3 innings allowed 4 hits, 1 run, walking 1, fanning 6. This year lefties are hitting .250 against Sean Camp, 25 for 100 with 2 homers. One and 2 now to Lowry. Lowry's not had very many at-bats on his rehab assignment. Just a few games in the minor leagues. Returning now against major league pitching for the first time in weeks and weeks and weeks. That's a challenge. Jed fouls it back.
It's there.
Good cut. Lowry was on quite a home run pace when he got hurt, with 14 in mid-July. J.D. Martinez is on deck. Upstairs for a ball, and it's 2-2 to Jed. The Astros have really missed him. He gives the club a professional at bat. Sees a lot of pitches. Been a stabilizing force at shortstop on this club, too. Time called. And now they'll talk. Castillo out to the mound to talk with Camp. West Williams club up 4-1 here in the 8th inning, but Lowry can really change the complexion of this game if he comes through with J.D. Martinez waiting next.
Time of possession starting to even out.
It really is.
Most of the night the Astros half innings zoomed by with Wood out there. The Cubs had constant traffic. But still, the Astros, with one swing of the bat, could tie this ball game.
Broken bat roller goes foul. Bobby Valentine has set a Red Sox record tonight for most ejections in a season by a Boston player or manager.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know who held the previous
Somebody
record.
tried to accuse him of mailing it in and not caring.
Good point.
How many's he got?
Don't know. How many would you think the record would be? About 8 or 9?
Yeah, I would think.
Okay. We don't know. Maybe he has. Bobby Cox is the all-time leader, right, in Major League Baseball?
Coxie, yeah. Very affable guy, too, but Coxie, boy, he could get after an umpire.
Earl Weaver's got to rank up there somewhere, hasn't he?
Yeah, Earl, yeah. I'm guessing in terms of time on the field, Weaver may be beyond Coxie. Sweet Lou.
Lou Piniella.
Billy Martin.
Oh, yeah. Lowry takes it. It's 3-2 now. Getting interesting. Now the runners will go. Camp was drafted by San Diego. Last year he pitched for Toronto. Pitched 67 times for the Blue Jays. He's pitched 5 times with a scoreless ball each time against the Astros for Sean Camp this year. The Reds now have their magic number down to 8. Clinch the National League Central. That's ball 4 and the bases are loaded. Lowry draws a walk. 3 men on for J.D. Martinez.
Oh, good try there by Camp after a lot of backdoor sliders and soft stuff. He tries to throw a little two-seam fastball to run back to the inside corner. Didn't quite execute it. Good patience shown by Lowry to work the walk. Travis Wood, you saw him working his way through the dugout. He can't stand to watch anymore. He's going to head upstairs and hope for the best. That two-seamer had some come on back on it, but not all the way back to the inside corner. J.D. Martinez, 2 very good swings his last 2 plate appearances. Line out and a line single.
That's strike 1. He faced Camp Monday night in the Cubs 4-1 win. Camp got him on a double play ball. That was with a 3-run lead in the 8th inning, 4-1. And they're here again, but with 2 outs in the inning this time. It's 0-2. Justin Maxwell on deck. JD takes it. It's a ball on a check swing call there by Doug Eddings. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, Perry Furman and Hill Thornell are working their final Astros telecast of the season. Great to work with them again this year. They've both done an outstanding job.
Let's get them a win.
Yeah, they'd like to go out on that note. Still 1-2. Detroit 8, the White Sox 1. They're in the bottom of the 8th at U.S. Cellular in Chicago. Camp strikes out Martinez to end the Astros 8th inning. They get a run on 3 hits. They strand 3, and it's 4-1 Cubs.
Minute Maid. And Astros fans, we've been telling you about this show all season long. Chevy Hometown Kids. It's a good one. It's not about the score. It's about the experience. So join host Emily Reppert every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Houston. Go to hometownkids.tv for more information. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. We go to the 9th inning. Pitcher number 7 is in for Tony DeFrancesco. And he is right-hander Reiner Cruz. Meanwhile, Fernando Martinez stays in to play left field after pinch hitting for the pitcher Valdez. Valdez in 2/3 of an inning, allowing 1 hit, no runs with 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Reiner Cruz coming in to face the 3-4-5 hitters of the Cubs.
Astros with the threat there, excuse me, in the bottom of the 8th had to settle for just the 1 run. And in all likelihood, we'll have to come back against Carlos Marmol in the 9th inning. So it is incumbent upon Mr. Cruz here to hold the Cubs right where they are.
Reiner will try to cruise through the 9th. The announcement just came on Mickey's story. He has a contusion of his right hand and also right jaw. Contusion.
Good. I mean, not good, but better than it could have been.
Yeah, we feared worse than that, so that is good news. There's ball 1 to Castro. Castro is 0 for 3 with a walk.
He could be fitted with one of those Adrian Dantley masks about pitch. Like Hannibal Lecter. That would be intimidating. I wouldn't want to hit off Hannibal Lecter.
No. How about Phantom of the Opera mask?
Yeah. Rip Hamilton?
Yeah. That's flared outside the right field line at foul. Now, who is your favorite, or do you really watch that many NHL games anymore to look at different goalie masks that you might?
No, yeah, I was a big NHL guy as a kid. So the first one that comes to mind is like Jerry Cheevers, when he used to put the stitches. He used to draw stitches on his mask where the pucks had hit him. Where if I wasn't wearing this mask, this is where I would have gotten whacked. But the newfangled goalie masks, yeah.
2-1. Did you ever see any goalies who played without a mask?
Sure, back in the day, the Gumper. Eddie Jockman, I think, played a long time without a mask. They all did back in the day.
Yeah.
Glenn Hall.
He was a Blackhawks guy, right?
Glenn Hall was a St. Louis Blue.
Line drive left. And Martinez over. 1 out. Castro retired. Now it's Soriano. Soriano has a homer and an RBI single to go with a walk tonight. That gives him 96 runs batted in. It's his best RBI year as a Cub.
Of course, there was a day in baseball when the catchers didn't wear masks.
True.
Obviously, the game was played a little bit differently. Used to stand way back and catch the ball on a bounce.
That sounds good. Strike to Soriano.
I can't remember who it was, but the first guy that wore a glove was chided for being wimpy for using a mitt. But then he got right up behind the plate and caught the ball on the fly. And, ooh, this guy's onto something here.
Well, was that Roger Bresnahan?
I don't know.
Okay. I think he's the one who came up with a lot of the catcher's equipment. 1 ball, 1 strike. Soriano has been over 100 runs batted in twice in his career, once with the Yankees, once with Texas. Bullpen activity there with the Cubs in a save situation right now. It's 1-2. Soriano's had some very good seasons in the big leagues. Overall career numbers outstanding. More than 1,000 runs batted in, more than 350 homers. Out to right center field. He powers this one deep. And that one bangs off the bullpen wall. That's a double for Soriano. That's his 3rd straight hit.
On base 4 times tonight. Walked in the 1st, home run 5th, single 7th, and this is probably a more impressive swing of the bat than was his home run. This is a fastball down, outer 3rd, and he extends through it. Drives it off the base of the wall in front of the Astros bullpen. That was a very impressive swing of the bat.
29 doubles, and he's out of the game for a pinch runner. Tony Campana is the runner.
According to the Cincinnati Commercial, back on June 28, 1870, a fellow by the name of Doug Allison caught today in a pair of buckskin mittens to protect his hands.
Nice. Wellington Castillo has an RBI single in 4 trips. Buckskin mittens. Strike to Castillo. Altuve comes in to talk with Reiner Cruz.
Kind of looks like a picture of it here. It looks like a weightlifting glove.
Oh yeah,
fingerless.
Mm-hmm. Off the plate for a ball. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, the evolution of the glove is pretty interesting to follow down through the years. Well, when folks go to the Hall of Fame next July to see Craig Biggio inducted, they can go through the Hall of Fame and look at all those exhibits and see how the equipment has changed. There goes Campana for 3rd. The throw floats over the 3rd baseman Dominguez into left field, and he pops up and scores to make it 5-1. Stolen base for Campana, and then he continues on the throwing error by Snyder to score the run.
Let's get a little insurance. Campana, we talked about him last night. He's one of the fastest guys in the league, and he's a real weapon coming off that bench.
It's his 28th steal in 31 tries. And now a 4-run lead.
You know, his value as a pinch runner may be more than anything else he does for his club, because if you send him up to pinch hit, he might not get on.
Good point.
But if once somebody gets on, then you send him into pinch run. It's quite an asset. He'd be a really nice piece on a really good team.
Yeah.
A team where you've got it covered in the outfield, you got plenty of power, and you need that extra ingredient to manufacture a run late. He'd be a very valuable guy to have.
So I'm just thinking with the Astros moving to the American League, the American League managers use their bench players. Maybe a guy like Campana could be, what do you think, more valuable in the American League? Well, maybe not, because they usually don't use the bench players as much. But he could be that extra piece. Three balls, two strikes.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because in the National League, you think of the bench guys, you're thinking primarily of pinch hitters and defensive replacements. Don't pinch hit that much in the American League. You certainly could use a guy with his wheels to help you win a game.
Yeah, just for that specialty role.
Think back to Herb Washington with the Oakland A's back in the 70s. Track star was signed by Charlie Finley to be a pinch runner.
He didn't know the game very well, but he was very fast.
If memory serves me correctly, I think I looked this up. He wasn't that effective as a base stealer either.
Not sure. Popped up. Laird coming over. 2 outs.
You like the outside of the box thinking, though, don't you?
Yeah, that's something to ponder a little bit. But you know, the great story was that Charlie Finley signed Herb Washington. He took him out on the field, and the A's players were stretching for batting practice. And he said, "Herb, what uniform number would you like to wear?" And Herb said, "Oh, I think number 3." And Phil Garner happened to be wearing that particular number at that time, so Charlie Finley went up to him and said, "Phil, you need to take that off so I can give it
to my sprinter." Herb Washington in 1974, at the age of 22, played 92 games for the Oakland A's, had 0 at-bats. He stole 29 bases, was caught 16 times.
That's not good.
No.
Not for a specialist.
Next year he played in 13 games, had 2 steals, was caught once.
And that was it?
Yep, that was it. Appeared in the postseason in '74. Was thrown out trying to steal twice against Baltimore.
That's great. Backfired
That's
on
probably enough.
2 balls and a strike. Yeah, let's see. Dick Williams was a manager then, right? So I can just imagine Dick Williams, you know, being told, use this guy to pinch run. And he keeps getting thrown out. That could make for an interesting conversation with the owner. So you want me to use this guy to pinch run? 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Never spent a day in the minor leagues.
You can just imagine. You know, he's a track star, but does he know how to get a lead? Does he know how to get a jump? Technique is quite different. Struck him out. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, nobody left. We move to the bottom of the 9th inning. 5-1 Cubs.
take on the Giants as New York looks to bounce back from a tough opening day loss to the Cowboys. Or you might see those same Cowboys battle the Seahawks, with Dallas looking to stay unbeaten. Coverage begins this week with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at 11 a.m. Central. And you know what they need on that show, Brownie? They need more guys.
They do need more guys.
They need like a second tier of guys.
Bart, let's get you on the record as we see Tony Campana taking over in center field. And all three outfielders have switched since the beginning of the game. The right fielder is now David DeJesus. The left fielder is Dave Chappelle. And the pitcher is Carlos Marmol. Let's get you on record.
Uh-oh.
What are the Texans going to do this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Well, they've got a tough schedule, but I do think they're the best team in that division, and all you got to do is win your division and get in. Once you get in, anything's possible. So I think they can win the division, but they do have a tough schedule. It's going to be hard for them to stay healthy with that schedule, and that's what really was their undoing last year. But I think they can win that division.
Okay. Carlos Marmol is 19 for 21 in saves. This is not a safe situation. He has a 4-run lead with 1 inning to go, but he's converted his last 18.
No Super Bowl prediction from Bart. Did you notice?
No, I noticed that. Yes.
Do you want a Super Bowl prediction?
Yes.
I'm not going to make one.
All right.
Okay. That's fine. You don't have to declare. Only getting ready for week 2, right?
Exactly.
Justin Maxwell is 1 for 3. Scott Moore is on deck against Carlos Marmol.
You know that Paul Harvey, the show, Now, the Rest of the Story?
Yes.
Paul Harvey, maybe you've heard that on the radio? Mm-hmm. Well, to finish the Herb Washington story, track star turned pinch runner extraordinaire or mediocre for the A's, depending on your point of view. After his time with the A's, he went back to track and field. And then after that, he moved to Rochester, New York. And at one point, he owned more McDonald's franchises than anybody in America. And then went on to be a director of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
Interesting.
A very accomplished gentleman. And went on to own a minor league hockey team, too.
That is the rest of the story.
And now you know.
I had no idea. 2 balls and a strike to Maxwell. It's interesting that his field at one point in baseball was larceny, and then he owned a bank. He was
fitting, though, that he went into the fast food business.
Very much so. Fast food. That's really fast. 3 balls and a strike. I can just see him, rushing around with that food in the kitchen and sliding in.
Yeah. Grab your bucket and mop. Here comes Herb.
Marmol misses, and that's a leadoff walk to Justin Maxwell. Only the 3rd walk for Cub pitching tonight. On camp in 1/3 of an inning, allowed 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Down 4 runs in the bottom half of the 9th. Patience, a good idea, and doubly so with Marmol on the mound. He oftentimes will work his way into a jam because he can't find the strike zone.
Scott Moore came up with a pinch single last night. 237 for Scott, the former Cub. 7 homers, 21 runs batted in. He had been out with a left groin strain. He looks at ball.
Want to welcome the Phillies to town. They played this afternoon. Probably settling in by now.
Larry Anderson must be here.
Scott Fransky, Larry Anderson, Chris Wheeler,
yeah,
Gary Matthews, Tom McCarthy,
Charlie Manuel, Pete McCannon.
Somebody give me a Philly roster.
How about who are the players? We don't know who the players are. Haven't seen them in a while. It's very early in the season.
We'll see them for 4 days, and the Phillies just 3 games behind the Cardinals now in the wild card chase.
We'll get to see a rookie tomorrow night in game 1 of that series. Tyler Cloyd versus Lucas Harrell. Airtime is 6:30 tomorrow night for Astros Live with Kevin Eschenfelder.
The Dodgers win their game tonight, and they're leading 2-1 now in the 6th inning in Arizona. They'll be tied with the Cardinals for the second wild card position.
Scott Moore.
Milwaukee won their game, so they're 3 back as well.
It's getting tight in that wild card race. White Sox are batting in the bottom of the 9th, trailing Detroit 8-5. Joaquin Benoit in the game for the Tigers. 2-2 to Moore. There's a look at it.
Check it out. It is officially a sprint. The marathon is about to become a 2-week sprint.
Milwaukee and Philadelphia closing quickly. The appeal goes to third. Check swing call there. That makes it 3-2 to Moore on the Paul Nauert call.
Make sure you get a strike. Need traffic.
Kansas City 10, Minnesota 5. They're in the top of the 9th in Minnesota. And a strikeout. Marmol gets out number 1. Strikeout number 8.
Scott fairly well convinced he was going to get a heater there. Marmol's a hard thrower, so he gets it started early and fooled by the breaking ball.
Now Brian Bogusevic will be pinch hitting for Brandon Laird.
It's interesting, Marmol, the way he pitches. He's not the only one. He's got a 4-run lead. You would think if ever there was a time he was going to challenge, that would be it. So that, as an Astro hitter, and you see that, obviously you're convinced, you should be convinced that you cannot sit on a fastball regardless of the count and the situation.
Ball 1 to Bogusevic. Bogey, a 206 hitter, 6 homers, 26 runs batted in, 2 for 3 with a homer in his career against Marmol.
And that breaking ball he threw more. It was not his intention to throw that pitch in the strike zone. He was counting on a swing and miss there. He was counting on Moore looking for a heater.
1-1. Bogusevic is 0 for 4 in this series. Jason Castro's on deck. Chris Snyder due up next. Tony DeFrancesco rounding up all the left-handed bats he can find here in the bottom of the 9th. 1-2. Marmol has 4 saves against the Astros in 5 appearances. He's not allowed a run to Houston this year. Carlos, 29 years old, and 34 saves last year. It's 2-2. Now Jose Valverde's in the game for Detroit. Tigers lead 8-5 in the bottom of the 9th. Detroit has a runner at second and nobody out, or Chicago rather has a runner at second and nobody out. The Giants are leading 6-3 at Colorado. They're in the top of the 8th. That's strikeout number 2 in a row for Marmol. Now the Astros down to their final out and send up another pinch hitter, Jason Castro.
Nice tough pitch here after the breaking balls. Flip the outside corner with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Castro is 1 for 3 with an RBI in this series. 260, 2 homers, 23 runs batted in this season. He had an RBI single in the 4th inning Monday night and also drew a walk in that start against right-hander Chris Volstad. Jason looks at it. It's strike 1 to him. In his last 11 starts, he's hit .324. Castro, as a pinch hitter, is 2 for 6 with an RBI. Brett Wallace is on deck. Another possible left-handed pinch hitter against Marmol. Maxwell takes off, and no play on him as he gets to second base on strike 2. Fielder's indifference, allowing Maxwell to move to second. Arizona has scored twice in the bottom of the 6th and leads the Dodgers now 3-2 after 6. Foul back. Still 0-2. It's Oakland 1. The Angels nothing. They're in the top of the 5th at Anaheim. working against Irvin Santana. A loss there would really push the Angels further behind Oakland. Oakland is 5 games up on the Angels in the loss column. And that'll do it. Marmol strikes out 3 in a row after that walk to lead it off for the Astros in the 9th inning. The Cubs claim 2 of 3 in this series. And Wood goes to 6-11. He's 3-2 lifetime against Houston. Final score, Chicago 5 and Houston 1.